Hey, true believers, Englentine here. I just noticed before we started, Breen and I got into an interesting conversation, and I thought, you know what, everything should be on camera, right? It doesn't count if it's not on camera. We will get to a bi-curious Batman. That Bleeding Cool posted an article I just saw, so I'm interested in talking about that, but more interested in talking about old comics because we had such a great time with Howler Mouse last week. So we're going to be talking also tonight about some excellent stories in the past, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe I don't see a reason to go past the 90s, but we'll be talking about some good stories in the past that were big then. Nobody's really talking about them anymore. Want to share some stuff maybe you guys could go look up, and there you go. But one thing we were also talking about before we started, and I said, no, we got to start up because this is interesting stuff, is Eric, if you look over his right shoulder there, has an All-Star Comics based on the Four Color Fossils, which is a channel and a show they get together where they show off all these Golden Age comics. And I think it's interesting, but I think you guys should be doing a little bit more discussion. Like I've been around for same amount of time as you have, but I haven't. Maybe I don't know what Del Western you're talking about or something. I would love to learn about.
Yeah, we do go. It's silver, gold, silver, and bronze.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a few of a few of them have a nice selection of Golden Age. I am not one of them, but it's nice to see.
Not for lack of trying.
Well, I didn't have I couldn't have filled a short box with my Golden Age books when I had 50,000 comics.
Yeah,
I've never had much.
I'm the same way. I had a few. Like I remember I had not an All-Star comic. What am I trying to think? Green Lantern, All-American? All-American comic.
Where is it?
I had one of those. I tried to get a hold of at least a Flash. I did have Batman and Superman Golden Age because those were the easiest to find.
All right, here's a Golden Age book, and here's your quiz question.
Okay.
This is Love Tales issue 48. This was a retitled series. What was it before it was Love Tales?
A retitled series, Love Tales.
And this was Atlas.
And it was Marvel when they were Atlas. See, that's harder to... Millie the Model?
No, I'll give... It was a superhero title.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, you got me, brother.
Human Torch.
Human Torch went to Love. Isn't that's so freaking weird?
The winds were shifting when
that is the way it goes, though. I mean, we always joke about Daredevil. Not Daredevil from Marvel Comics, but from Lev Gleason, who started off, of course, an action adventure title, and then ended up being the freaking Little Rascals.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So we're going to be talking about the Batman just a second here. I want to say hello to everybody. Maranya's in the house. Slither Claw, what's up? No, we haven't talked to Batman yet. Evening all, says Miss So, listening while working late. Well, I hope everything's going well with you, and thanks for tuning in. I do want to get to this. It is an article by Bleeding Cool. I guess it's the upcoming. Now I'm reading, by the way, Batman the Knight. And there are things I like about it, things I don't like about it. It's basically him as a young man going around the world being trained to be Batman. So this is not Batman proper, most awesome hero in the universe. This is him growing up. At one point in time, he meets not Catwoman, Obviously, we get Henry Dricard, but it seems like you can have a one-to-one almost with people that are in his life now, and I think that's kind of lazy writing, kids. Let's meet some new people that got him to where he's going. Let's meet the characters that were already brought up a little bit more. Let's get some backstory to Dricard while you're going in there, but. Overall, it's not a horrible book. It's just, it's there. But I was looking for topics, and I saw in my feed Bleeding Cool, and they came up with this, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? That was my reaction. Are you kidding me? And then I thought of this. That's everybody. But I don't think it is. I don't think Flash has yet fallen to it. I don't think so. I know Venkman is really the Flash reader, but I don't think he did. Aquaman, of course, has the kid. Now you have Wonder Woman, of course, is bisexual now. Green Lantern was called pansexual. Superman, of course, with Jonathan Kent and the Superboy stuff. The Seven, and you could say they will probably say Martian Manhunter because he's a shapeshifter, therefore can love and do anything. And let's escape the fact that he's the male of his species in love with his wife, the female of the species. They'll probably try to twist that around.
Outdated for the most part, norms.
But for the most part, the main characters of the DC universe, Batman is now taken. I do believe the Flash is the last one left. That's all I would have to say about that. Hello to LK. How you doing, sir?
Hey, evening.
All right. So
on and saw that you were talking about an interesting subject here.
Yeah, and then we're going to be talking about comics, so I guess everybody will drop off after that. Okay, so it says here, tomorrow sees the publication of Batman the Knight by Chip Zdarsky and Carmine Guy. Is telling untold stories from Bruce Wayne's formative years, traveling the world, training to be the Batman he will one day be. It's the kind of story Christopher Nolan wishes Batman Begins could have been. No, sorry. Batman Begins, in its 2 hours, has so far told a better story than Chip Zdarsky has in his 3 issues so far. Okay? Or is it 4 issues? 4, I don't care. Point being is no. I'm sorry. Chip is losing this particular battle.
Well, that's just Rich Johnson being Rich Johnson. Right. Whatever.
In the previous issue, we saw Bruce Wayne training with the high snowy mountains of North Korea under Master Kriegi for a year alongside the friend and fellow trainee he met there, Anton, while Bruce himself went by the name of Jack. In issue 5, there appears to be a bit of a reconciliation away from the monasteries as identities have been cleared up. And he's sitting here saying, I just, what am I doing? I'm on a mission, but I don't even know toward what. And I keep falling short, and I'm worried. I'm just going to slink back into Gotham as a failure. Maybe Avery is right. Maybe I can't become someone else. Maybe I'm in. And this Anton guy says, hey. I know it may not seem like it. You don't have to be the best at everything. You're amazing, Bruce. I thought I was alone in the world. And then with Anton getting closer to Bruce than he had done in those years, or isolating training rituals before everything went to hell, the lighting on the eyes, the pursed lips, and I tell you, am I not right here again, guys? Have I not said about Aquaman, about Tim Drake, about Superboy? Whenever they want to draw somebody, they always they smooth out the features just like they're doing right here, right here. Right here, they're drawing him in that freaking stereotypical bullcrap way. They don't look like that. That's not how he looks in this panel. But they want to make him gay, and they draw him exactly like this.
It's the old-time equivalent of filming a person with a cheesecloth over the lens.
No, it's literally bisexual lighting.
Oh my! Well, yeah, you get that in the eyes right there. But look at the way they smoothed out the face that they didn't do right here. And all of a sudden, boom, everybody's gay there. But holy crap, they didn't do it until it's and oh my gosh, we have to be the most freaking I swear to gosh, they are the most we're going to be inclusive. We're going to have representation. No, I say this constantly. It's not representation. It's presentation. Yeah. You know what? Here's a weird thing. Maybe it's just me. But if you pander to me, I can notice it. And I have very little respect for what you have to say. And I cannot believe that there's not a gay person out there that looks at this shit and goes, no, just no.
Is DC sponsored by Maybelline now? Because aren't they the ones that have the rich, thick lashes?
No,
Make
maybe
me spit.
maybe he's
Damn it!
that-
So close to a spit take.
Don't
Yeah.
make me spit on my computer, boy.
This brings up two things, and we see this constantly with pop culture. These people have no understanding. This comes up all the time with bromances and BS like that. Guys, especially close friends, will tell things, but they don't understand what friendship, non-platonic close friendship relationships are. Everything to them is sex. And again, this is also Rich Johnson interpreting something, because I love the censor, and by the looks of things, the closeness reciprocated. Bullshit.
No.
I look at the Bruce Wayne there, and that is more of a what's going on kind of look, or I'm not sure what are you doing kind of thing. This is him interpreting, and either somebody at DC fed him this nonsense, or he sees it as clicks. And I'm sorry that I ever liked this guy when he was writing the fun gossip columns in CBR, because he is just an absolute garbage tier journalist and a hack. And this is just complete, utter nonsense.
In a Disguise is saying they feminism. I guess they make all the gay men more effeminate, and, when a lot of gay men are not openly effeminate. I know a couple of guys that I had to look twice at. Like, wait, oh, okay. I knew one guy. He didn't look that way actually, but as soon as he opened his mouth. But it's the worst. Comic book writers and artists are absolutely the worst at writing people who are not white, straight male.
Well, I think this absolutely is designed to make you think that that's what was going to happen, because there is nothing, and you can underline nothing until your pen runs out of ink, more important to DC than making as many characters as they possibly can part of the community.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you buy into some of the, I'll say, corporate theories, I mean, again, this is just raising Warner Brothers ESG score.
Yeah, but in all honesty, and we talked about this backstage, what DC Comics has done has given Frederick Wortham bullets. Frederick Wortham, for those of you who do not know, is the psychologist behind Seduction of the Innocent. His argument was that comic books corrupt children, and that you can even tell there are homosexual undertones to Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin are banging. That was now my personal thought for the last 40, 50 years now has been, well, it couldn't be 50, so it's 48 years now, has been that if you are reading Batman comics and thinking, wow, they're banging, that's something wrong with you. But DC is saying, no, Frederick Wortham was right. They're f***ing. The only reason Batman is collecting little boys, they are giving Frederick Wortham that ammunition. The Frederick Worthams of the world now.
Well, they gave him that when they had Batman about to climb into bed with Robin because they slept in the same bed in a gigantic 100-room mansion.
Yeah.
But I digress.
One thing that I've been saying for years and years and years, and Maranya brings it up here, these writers do not understand platonic relationships. Guys can be friends without needing to bump uglies. Girls can be friends without needing to explore the scissor aisle, which is what I would always say. And that's something you see all the time. This is not new though. This has been for 20-something years that two women in comics can't be friends without wanting to scissor. You just couldn't get it. And now they're just bringing guys into the mix. Guys can't be friends, and especially since the internet. Anytime two guys say hello to each other, oh, they're friends. Oh my gosh, let's ship them. I hate that word, by the way.
Yes,
but we got to put them together. No,
yes, there's a hidden repressed sexuality between the two. Yeah. It's like no,
it's really not. There really is not. I've had the same friends for since I was 12. And you know what? Nope, not once. Not once ever wanted to. Not once has the thought ever crossed my mind. It's not that way. And yet comic book writers, and they just believe that, oh, if two people say more than 2 pages worth of dialogue to each other, they want to. And it just isn't that way. That haircut makes Bruce's buddy looks like one of those evil German guys of World War II.
Now,
yep, Hilliam, he looks like he just stepped off of Cabaret.
Now,
life is a cabaret, my friend.
Something that was touched on in a video today on this subject, which I wouldn't have thought of immediately. I would like to think I may. Well, actually, I don't care enough about new comics. Probably wouldn't have come to me. This is kind of a ballsy thing to do right before you take over as the writer of Batman, the flagship title.
Yeah.
Because, again, like I said, you're not allowed to tell anybody without getting the wrath of half of YouTube and Twitter down your throat. But not everybody is okay. Not everybody thinks it's great that everybody is just a come hither glance away from joining the community.
I want to know if honestly Chip Zdarsky is that way. Does he see himself like?
I think Chip Zdarsky is he's a shit poster who gets to write comics.
Well, maybe, but what I'm saying is even if you're homosexual, if all it takes is 5 seconds talking to a woman, and all of a sudden you want to bang her, because basically that's what they're throwing out there.
Yeah, and that's the part. That's the part where don't put too much thought into it, because if straight men can, like I said, just look at each other and then it's on. Theoretically, the same thing could happen with a gay or a lesbian and someone from the opposite sex, and they would absolutely, the same people that are cheering this would absolutely lose their freaking minds.
Yep.
If you did it in reverse.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. This.
Well, and it's funny too, because this dovetails quite nicely with another pop culture story that came out today that I'm sure is at the top of the page on Bleeding Cool, or Bleeding Stool, as some of us like to say.
Now, what would that be?
The announcement of a new upcoming character in the upcoming Doctor Who series.
Oh, yeah. I don't pay attention to Doctor Who, so I don't know too much about it. But I guess a lot of people are upset about his inclusion. Well, I've seen pictures.
No, not his inclusion. No. There's a newest story today that I'll say actress, because it turns out it is an 18-year-old transgender actress, has been cast as Rose in the 2023 Doctor Who. And it's like, seriously? And, the fact that, the article mentioned transgender means absolutely that will be a story plot or some kind of focus in the story, because it's 2022 and it's the BBC and that's what they do. And so basically any hope that I have that Russell T. Davies might be bringing Doctor Who back to normalcy has been pretty much snuffed out.
Well, there you go. I guess I don't know. I don't know too much about Doctor Who or anything, but I do know some people are up in arms about this new character. I think it's just ridiculous that they're doing the same thing to Batman that they do to all of them. And like I said, that is the entire Justice League, kids, except for the Flash. So far as I know, Barry Allen and Wally West are still straight men that do not have an interest in banging their sidekicks.
Yes, they have been untouched so far, but there is a Flash character that was originally in JLQ, and I think showed up in the Teen Titans to make them kind of an official character that is disabled and either asexual, non-binary. Thank you. Yeah. So I have no idea what the person's name is, and I don't really care.
Yeah,
but they've basically done it to every single mantle, and one way or the other. And
DC, I told you DC Comics was going to steer harder than Marvel. I had no freaking clue that there would be absolutely no pushback. Like Jim Lee, is he even in control of anything? Is he actually okay with this? What's going on with DC leadership where this happens? I don't think they understand what this dynamic is doing, what this dynamic could do, or what the whole shift. Because and it's not just they say, okay, Wonder Woman's a lesbian or bisexual now, but we're going to lean a lot heavier over to it doesn't matter. It's the fact that when these comic book writers get a hold of somebody who's not straight white male, all those characters become is whatever demographic that they want them to be. Look how what was his name? Jason Ridley, whatever the guy who did John Ridley, the guy who did the other side of the DC history. Not one of those books was about a fully fledged character. It was about an angry black guy. It was about an entitled black guy. It was about a butch lesbian. It was about a shy, timid Asian woman. And I mean, it had nothing to do with whom the characters were, but what they were. And that's the big problem. And some jackass, by the way, just a few, since we're on this and I'm rolling here, the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor, as you say, somebody put up one more freaking thing about, well, they don't know is there was always politics in comics. They didn't know that. They think that Captain America was a bunch of Nazis. Freaking idiots. Freaking idiots.
I just saw some said Jim Lee's daughter just married a woman, so that might explain why he's okay. But then again, I would say, so what? That's great, but that's your story. That's your life. That doesn't mean that. And I said, it's not. It's one thing. I said, I don't think anybody has a problem with representation, but they've gone way past that. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, it's statistically impossible. And it's like I said, I don't think anybody would like it if every comic suddenly had to have a baseball scene in it. I mean, it's just, like I said, at some point it just goes past representation and just becomes agenda. And like I said, the quickest way to get someone turned off to your agenda is to continuously force it on them. There's nothing organic about this anymore. And that's, like I said, I've said this a million times. If you don't want your kids to smoke, give them a pack when they're 10 years old and tell them to finish it. They're not going to be smokers.
That actually worked for me. I was 7 at the time. We always stole. I don't even know if I was smoking properly, but we always stole cigarettes from my uncle. And my uncle bought us a pack and said, "There you go. Oh no, have another. And after we started puking, forget about it." Yeah.
Yeah, that's didn't work for me. By 8 years old, I was up to 2 packs a day. But for most people, it works.
Yeah, everybody else it works for, just not us.
Well, again, I'll throw out a couple things. It's fun to laugh now when people were so happy when Dan Didio got fired, because so much of this happened under Mark Cherry's watch, and even though he's gone, these are plans that were still put in place when he was there. So I know somebody's saying, saying, "Oh, it looks like Discovery's not changing anything." Well,
yeah, Dan Cherry, just so people don't go out and hassle some poor guy named Mark Cherry.
Oh, sorry, Daniel Cherry. So the thing is, again, these things are planned out months, if not a year plus in advance. So Discovery had been in Zaslav has been in charge of Warner Brothers under DC for what, a month, 2 months, once the kind of the merger has been finalized. So, and again, the thing is, though, is that, as I've said all along, DC publishing is essentially, an error, on the balance sheet of Warner Brothers proper. It would take somebody who actually saw it to actually care. And I don't think most of the execs are paying attention because there's no money there. Now, whether or not Zaslav or whoever he assigns that has the purview of DC will actually look at it and say, well, why isn't this making more money? I hope it is, because Zaslav so far seems more of like a bottom line. If it's not making money, you're ending than anybody else.
Can I say something real quick? MK, I was kidding about being A.
Okay, so here I do want to point something out. And we used to say, if you're going to talk about the negative, you have to talk about the positive. This is a mini series. It's off to the side. I don't know if they're going to count it as a canon or not. Probably so, based on what we've seen before. But right now, we don't know for sure. That's the one saving grace here. But as you said, this is still Chip Zdarsky, the guy who's about to be writing DC Batman proper. Yeah, so we don't know if he's going to carry that shit over.
And my understanding is, just kind of looking at this, I believe this is supposed to be a story from Batman's early days, or before he becomes Batman and he's in his training to become, that he'll eventually use or whatever. So it's absolutely, likely, especially with Zdarsky coming on to write Batman, that his first story arc is going to be somehow referring to this. And oh, come on, let's admit it. His first story arc is going to be whoever this character is that allegedly gave Bruce the googly eyes is going to pop back up. And Bruce Wayne's going to have to deal with it. And then he's going to have to deal with all of his repressed feelings.
I may accept it if they actually have the guy look at Bruce and say, you remember when you cut my balls and called me Susan? That was when I found out the final clue to the mystery. If they actually have that bubble of dialogue there, I will be 100% in on this. I'll be like, holy shit, now we're talking. Let's go. Let's bring it on. If they have Bruce Wayne look at him and go, my safe word is keep going, I think we're in. This will be just a lot of fun. All righty. It's just freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, in a disguise, it's not AT&T. DC was sold off to Discovery as part of their buy of Warner Brothers. So it's Zaslav, who ran Discovery, and he seems to be a bottom line guy. Because, as I say, everybody, focused on the fact of, them canceling all the, most of the CW DC shows. That was a bloodbath. He wound up canceling like 8 or 9 shows. There's not much left in terms of a fall lineup right now for the CW, which is, more rumors of them trying to sell the network. And I'm arguing that, God, if you wanted to shutter the network, this is kind of how you would go about and do it, is that you would cancel all the shows you don't want. You take all the remaining ones and dump them, move them over to HBO Max and your streaming service and cancel the network.
I hope they keep up with the shows that they decided to keep on HBO Max. I hope it doesn't go the way of the dodo, because those right now are quality shows. It's kind of sad. I know there's, I haven't seen a season. I haven't actually watched since, I think it was season 4 or 5 or something like that, of Legends, when the season after John Constantine showed up.
Mm-hmm.
But I always liked it when I saw it, and I kept telling myself, I'm going to go back to that one. I don't want to not see comic book shows on the TV, especially the DCs. They had something going for a while anyway. I think they made too many of them. They basically all have the same format, with Team Flash, Team Arrow, Team, that I found a little bit kind of dull and wearisome. But I just hope they have something in their coffers for this. Bring back Swamp Thing. Make me a happy man, please, DC. That would be nice. That was an excellent freaking show.
Yeah, and Mr. DC Comics, I don't think Joshua Williamson's the one that created Ghostmaker, wasn't that Tomasi?
Tinian, I think.
Or Tinian,
Yeah, he came in.
And Tinian.
Yeah.
Heard it both ways.
And the thing is, you know, if Ghostmaker's gay, it wasn't. I don't. At least, again, you guys would have to correct me since you've read a lot more of the recent. Or well, I'll say you've read a lot more. We don't have Vinkman on the stream. As far as I know, it wasn't like a focus of his character of
no,
hey, I'm gay and you know doing this, and that's the biggest problem is that all of these characters, and you know, I'm not sure talked about the new X-Men character yet. It's always look at me.
Yeah. Okay. So I know we've got a couple of gay viewers. So I want to know, how do you feel about bullshit like pink kryptonite? Seriously, I see Indie Comics Jones is bringing it up. Lex Luthor Kent with a chunk of rainbow kryptonite, melted his soy latte. Lois Lane uncovers the truth. Well, here's the thing. Well, yeah, what do you think about that? Because I read that and I went, wow, that is just insulting. That's like Power Man getting his freaking powers from collard greens and fried freaking.
Well, it was playing off of a stereotype, and it was a throwaway in a book that wasn't to be taken seriously anyway. If we're talking about the same,
chicken, it just doesn't. I'm here.
So I can't speak to, you know, if someone is gay, if they were offended by it, but it wasn't meant to be taken seriously anyway.
Being Dick Sergeant York said being pandered to is pretty awesome. I see it different, but okay. Yeah. It's like, hey, every character is gay. Who was not gay. Ghostmaker just existed in the world, nor I want them to be treated like that. Skittles and Starburst are queer candy. I'm not saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I so wanted to say something. Oh, what the hell? Nobody's watching, or few people are watching. So from the comment from Indie Comics,
I'm just not doing the letter thing. You took all the.
If Breen, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting a kick out of where E's freezing.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's kind of a perplexed look on his face at the moment.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if John has already consummated the relationship with Jay,
yeah, we're there.
He can't become hetero again.
That is true. That is true. All I think of is the song from what is that? The puppet movie America. Team America. Except for instead of everyone has AIDS, it's everyone is gay.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, gang. And now, I was talking to Tristan last night, and she says somebody was looking up the numbers, and it's only like 7%.
Of what the U.S. is LGBTQ?
Well, no, of DC Comics is gay. Now, of United States, what's the what is the percentage? Do we know?
It depends.
It depends on what study you read and things. I mean, now it used to be probably like around between 5 to 10%, but since it's become since it's become a fad among young people, it's probably somewhere up closer to 12, maybe even 15%.
Yeah, I heard 20%, and I'm like, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It is the fact. It is the thing that. Two things happen. One, of course, you're seeing certain communities recruit kids like a cult. Well, you're put down upon. Obviously, you're one of us. You don't feel right in your own body. Obviously, you're one of us. And as soon as those people go, yeah, I don't think I'm one of you, they're ostracized, kicked out, treated poorly, and so forth and so on. And we've seen that. It has become a bit of a fad. I don't think it's 20%.
Look, when I was younger, it was more like 1 to 3% was the total I'd always heard. So, if it's 5 to 10, then that's a huge upswing.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, it's hell, it's damn near encouraged in school age kids now.
It's ridiculous.
Not by anybody, not by adults or authority figures. It's encouraged by each other. I mean, you get pockets of kids that just get immersed in these, fantasy culture, whether it's those mangas with the opposite of yaoi, I guess, where it'll be about young girls' love, but nothing happens in them, and the girls just kind of they kind of gravitate towards that for some reason. And
hey, now let's not go blaming manga and anime here. That's like blaming video games.
You're purposely misconstruing my point. I'm saying that is an example.
Yeah,
there's a section, and a lot of kids that are very much into, instead of a lot of all their interests are in the realm of fantasy, and there's a lot of that being presented to them, and that coupled with, I said, you want to fit in, and then it's like it used to be, if you want to fit in, that's you couldn't do that because you couldn't be out in the open. Well, now you can at any age.
Yeah. Well, and I'll challenge your point too about it not being the adult or authority figures. I completely disagree. There's plenty of stories now where, and again, this is why it's so damaging and so just disgusting right now at the school level, where you've got teachers, kindergarten teachers, first grade teachers that are encouraging this and openly happy and praising every time that they get it, that one of their students comes out. And more importantly, what's the big part that's missing is you have a school administration now that either implicitly or explicitly allows these teachers to run amok and be lunatics and, recruit these kids. And that never used to be the case. And you've gotten this generation of administration that just, endorses all this stuff, either through their inaction or openly says, well, no, we've got to do this.
I didn't mean to say that it doesn't exist among adult figures. I'm just saying that there's a lot of it. If like a group of girls or boys hang out and they're not
oh yeah,
the mainstream, it's just
part,
it just kind of becomes it's whether it's a fad, whether it's it used to be you waited till college to experiment. Now it's high school. It's
now second grade.
Indie comics, and growing up, a bunch of kids wanted to be a hippie. Now the young want to be gay. I remember in the 90s there was a push like this, like everybody can be, and you'd have guys say, yeah, I am, until it actually came down to, wait a second, we do what? And
that's something I was going to bring up.
In the 90s, everybody wanted to be an emo.
It's for a lot of people, they love the idea of it until it's time for the practical application, and then it's so that's
this just doesn't do it for me. So I knew I was actually part of the cast of the local Rocky Horror at that point. And I knew a couple of guys who did that. I was like, that's not the way it works. You can't just, because I truly believe that you are born with your sexuality, and it's not something you go, well, you know what? I mean, you could convince yourself, I don't like blondes this week, I like brunettes. You could do that. Okay, fine. But you got to go to the taco stand, not the hot dog stand. I'm just saying.
The same people in the 80s, when it was the far right saying that, oh, you're just choosing this. Yeah. And it was the left that said, no, you're born that way. That's completely flipped.
I know, right? Now you have the left saying literally, not only can you choose, but you can choose within any moment of the day.
Yeah.
So like right now I could say, you know what? I'm a bisexual lesbian female who only likes men because I hate myself. And now I'm just a plain old straight white male. But here's the thing, because for those few seconds I was that, I don't want to hear any of you guys say anything about my gay people.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, how can...
Well, the thing is, though, is that they will still claim that you are born that way. And I think, you know, the more radical ones out there will probably say that everyone is born this way. It's just the certain ones, you know, that finally, you know, feel open enough to act upon it. Because here's the little secret is that, well, you have to be born that way because if you're not, if it's a choice, well, then you can, we'll say, discriminate against that particular choice. Just the way that businesses can say, well, you know what? No, we're not going to allow smokers in here.
I do want to rein this in a little bit because we stopped talking about how they changed comic book characters into it, and we're just talking about that. And yes, I would prefer to speak about it in terms of the comics. Obviously, the whole Batman thing is ridiculous. You can't have a 7-year lead up to a wedding that didn't happen and then say it was, especially when he wasn't the one that called it off, saying that, yeah, this guy's not straight. It's ridiculous. No, we're saying he's bi. No.
You mean the same way that you had a decade lead up to the marriage of Kitty Pryde and Peter Rasputin, and then just
that was ridiculous.
A wedding special, and then
you can't. Batman will not be Batman if he's happy. Therefore, we can't make him a straight man married. We have to make him a gay man. Think about that shit for a while, gay readers.
Yeah. Well, and then remember too that, Kitty died and then was resurrected on Krakoa, and suddenly she's a pirate and she's got tattoos on her knuckles and she's hanging out,
Zach, get out of here with that.
Of magic.
I made this topic on Comic Vine years ago. Do you think people are born straight? Yeah, I think I just said that. Yeah.
Hey,
11 pages then got closed.
Yeah, if you want to make that argument, Zach, you come on here and you make that argument.
Yeah, come on and talk about why Kitty Pryde belongs with Star-Lord.
I will vehemently disagree with that.
I already told him to get out of here with that.
Yeah,
get that weak shit out of here.
And Marani wants a new minority character that is just a straight white man with Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah.
I didn't say I'd kick you out, Zach. I asked you to remove yourself.
Yeah, Kitty was best with Pete Wisdom, right?
I am the Pete Wisdom camp, actually. But also, but I knew that was temporary, and I said it because characters they all seem to have a default setting, and Kitty's is Peter.
Well,
it was before the industry fundamentally shifted, but hey, it's a better story than Batman Knight?
Huh.
No Man's Land. See what I'm trying to do here?
Okay, move it over. Well, I think they should do this. I think because this would actually be a really good thing is if they just keep having Kitty Pryde whenever she's in between boyfriends, go back to Peter, who then goes gaga over Kitty Pryde, and she just treats her hoo-ha for Peter like Lucy does the football for Charlie Brown. And the thing is this, we have all known this woman. We have all known that woman that tries to keep you on the hook. Kitty Pryde tries to keep Peter on the hook. He is the guy that is there when she's not with somebody she's actually interested in.
Well,
that's never happened to me, and I'm not bitter. You are the bitter one.
Let's think about this for a second. Yeah. For the same reason why Bendis missed out on a perfect opportunity to have Luke Cage say, Reed Richards.
Exactly.
If Kitty Pryde isn't interested in a guy that can make it steel, then maybe she's not. Maybe she's.
Are they going to replace Ezra Miller? I'll tell you what, I hope not. And I'll tell you why. At this point, he has become such a freaking train wreck. I want to see how it plays out. I think there's a story there. I want to see how it plays out.
Let it play out in court. He's an odd looking little man.
I didn't even like him when I saw him pop up first time in Justice League. But Green, I wanted to ask you. So, reading back to the Claremont, Peter and Kitty kind of relationship, didn't you feel though still that was more of like a big brother, little sister kind of thing?
It was supposed to start that way, but it was supposed to last long enough to, in like olden days. Well, someday I'll be grown up, and then we can get married. I think they were kind of going after something like that, even though time moves so much slower in comics. And Peter, I think that, for years it was that way, but at some point it should have progressed that next level. I don't know if it ever actually even did.
See, in a disguise, he wants to grab the popcorn and watch Trainwreck. I'll go one step further. I want to watch the audience's reaction to what's her name when Aquaman 2 comes out. When Mira shows up, and it's I forget her name now. Johnny Depp's
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard, thank you. When Aquaman 2 comes out and Amber Heard's on screen, I don't think the audience is going to be able to stay silent. I want to be there. I want to be in the audience with people like, boo!
Well, supposedly
don't crap
not
in the ocean
now.
Yeah. I mean, if you wait around for her 10 minutes of screen time, which is what the rumors are, but
yeah.
See, here's the thing. Now this goes back to something you always talk about of saying I don't want to see the end of superhero movies and stuff, and that part I'll agree with. I don't want to see a bad Flash movie because you're only going to get so many opportunities to do this.
Yeah.
It's again kind of we'll go back, well, not full circle, but to things from earlier this week. I'm not surprised at the huge box office drop off for Doctor Strange 2. And again, it's why I was so frustrated with the movie, and again frustrated with Moon Knight, because they are not putting their best foot forward, and you're only going to get so many opportunities of this before you completely turn the audience off, and then there it goes, and it's gone forever.
There's always going to be superhero movies. There always will be. It's whether or not we're getting 2 or 3 a year, which I enjoy, but they do have to be good. I would rather the Spider-Man No Way Homes than the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but I did enjoy Doctor Strange.
I realized there were 28 Marvel movies now.
Unfortunately, we're talking about Amber Heard being reduced to 10 minutes in the sequel. That wasn't the first one. Was a good movie, and she was good in it. And it's a shame she is such a psychopath. I mean, how bad do you have to be when we're rooting for a guy? Well, I realize that Hollywood hates this man with a passion, but he was on stage in Paris musing on if anybody's ever gotten away with killing a sitting president since Booth. And so I said, it ain't like he's a sweetie.
Booth didn't get away with it.
He said, has anybody killed a president on? Yes. Anyway, Johnny Depp was musing about what it would be like to kill Trump.
Right.
And of course, since he, even though he got fired from Pirates of the Caribbean, it sure as heck wasn't for that. But I mean, how much of a train wreck does Amber Heard have to be? And how stupid was Johnny Depp to marry a lesbian anyway that was upfront about it?
A train wreck like JD versus AH. What's JD versus AH?
Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard.
Oh, okay.
So in my understanding is, contractually at this point, they have to keep her in some amount of the movie. Otherwise, they've got to write a check because it breaks the contract.
Well, my guess is if they put her in the movie, and if they didn't reduce her role, they might boo her when she first met. Everybody says, "Oh, I won't go to the movie."
Bullshit. Yeah.
And they'll go, and by the end of the movie, they'll be able to separate the art from the artist, because there was a lot of rumblings about her when the first one came out. So yeah, again, I said now, honestly, Ezra Miller's a different story. Amber and Johnny's a he said, she said, and sounds like just a psychotic relationship. Ezra Miller has hurt people. He is, risk
And
put people at risk.
He's done it to make AFTs or NFTs or whatever
it is.
Called. Yeah.
I mean, I said, and I don't know, and I somebody that's seen them both would have to tell me, but I'm just going to imagine that Amber Heard was a better mirror than Ezra Miller was Flash.
Yes, I will go with that. Like for
yes,
they were trying to say Barry Allen is Bart Allen, like the way they had him act. Like if he was Impulse, I would be like, oh, okay, yeah, that fits. I think Mira is more Mira than Flash is Flash. So yeah, I would give that. Let's see. MK San agreed 100%. Eric, I'm glad I'm not the only one to know that. Plus, he a druggie and hangs with Marilyn Mason, who's a woman beater, not exactly a nice guy. Depp is. Never said he was. I don't. But yeah, it makes sense there. Amber Turd has much screen time, says Indie Comics Jones. It's the Moon Knight character had on his own show.
I love the Indie Comics Jones.
That you know what you're not going to. I think
so spot on.
I think also at the same time I like the Moon Knight probably better than anybody here, and my entire review is that's it. They made good job, you. Good job, guys. You made a TV show. You know what though? I didn't, and I managed not to fuck up Moon Knight. So really, was that an accomplishment?
Yeah.
Glenzer
how Marania is trained to defend Moon Knight, but you can't really defend.
Glenzer has a good point. Sorry,
Ezra has gay privilege.
Well, if you think about it, one of the things we said why everybody in the comic book industry is assigning themselves to a victim group, because it affords you rights and privileges that you wouldn't have had otherwise. If Ezra Miller didn't wear ladies' pumps, didn't wear more makeup than most TV anchor women, and didn't sleep with men, he'd be long gone. No question, he'd be gone.
Yeah. Geez, we really just can't get this to comics tonight, can we?
I blame LK.
You know what? I blame Howler Mouse. If he was here, we'd be more
right.
focused. Yeah, let's blame him. He's not here yet.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, what's another comic topic that you had, or what's on?
Actually,
what's on Bleeding Cool?
I did find something, and I thought it was a good uplifting story. If the crowd lets us talk about it. It turns out that 25 years ago, this young lady did a pinup, and I think it turned into a cover or something for Todd McFarlane. It was based on Angela. And Todd McFarlane finally returns Joyce Chin's Angela work. And it shows her, she's at her booth, and she ends up getting, and she's there with some original art of hers. And it came with a letter from Todd McFarlane. Now they've got it. Dear Joyce, I'm so sorry for the delay in getting this art back to you. I had originally intended to return it after 10 years, not 25 years. Though you drew this during the Reagan administration, I hope this will not happen again if you decide to do more pages for me. So this lady did, I think this ended up being a pinup or something for the comic. This is how it looked in the book, Spawn Classics 2, right here. It turns out that she did, this is so like a read the headline and you got the story kind of thing. But it turns out that she didn't even know that the artwork had not been returned to her. And Todd McFarlane was going through something in the in his attic, and he found it. So he returns it to her. Now, she's actually not mad that the artwork wasn't returned to her, because had she sold it originally when she first did it, she would have gotten a couple of dollars for it. But now she could probably get a few thousand for it. I thought that was a nice story. But as soon as I'm starting to talk about it, I realize it's what I call a headline story. once you read the headline, you know the story. So I don't know if there's anything to talk about it for. So
yeah. Well, it's nice, and again, it points out that McFarlane is one of the good guys. Yeah, he's had it. He's had his warts, and if you want to complain about the whole Neil Gaiman, Miracle Man, lawsuits and stuff like that, sure you can. But for the most part, he seems to be a pretty decent guy, and number one, more importantly, at least on our side, he seems to really care about the fans. I mean, you look at what he's doing with Spawn. He's kept the prices low, and he's putting out good quality, and those books are selling.
Now, here's something. I found an angle. Yeah, you get him, and oh, by the way, hi Zach. You get him doing this for the young lady. He found that art, and he could have done whatever the hell he wanted with it, and he returns it, which is, of course, one of the Image promises when they were first put together. And it is a big old freaking contrast to the fact that around the same time and a little bit earlier than that, Jack Kirby is freaking pulling teeth to get original artwork from Marvel, being told that they don't have it, only to see his original artwork show up on posters and advertisements and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. At least Image, we're keeping up their end of the bargain. One of the worst things I read in that Marvel the Marvel biography thing, was how badly, like in the late 70s, one of the worst things Jim Shooter did, as a matter of fact, was there was a little bit of a push to give creators more rights to their characters, to get them a bigger what do you call it when you're paid for something years later that you did, royalty check, and that they would have more ownership over the characters. And Jim Shooter, they wrote a memo, had people sign it, everything. It was like saying flat out, "Your work for hire. You make something, it's for us. Let's cut you don't like it, the door's over there." And people were good for it. And let's face it, the 80s and the 90s were good to Marvel. So they were able to, not only were they able to keep some good talent, they were able to recruit some good talent during the 80s and 90s. So.
Yeah. Well, again, for, not to defend Shooter here, but I mean, that was an era, especially Shooter was coming from it, of, hey, this is a job. You're being hired to do a certain thing, and we're paying you a wage to do it. It wasn't thinking of comics as art and, all the wonderful creatives and, all the other nonsense that goes on today. That was the mentality. That's what work for hire means. It's anything you create while you're on my time, that belongs to whoever is paid.
I know that's the rule and everything, but man, I wish the Ditko family got a hold of Spider-Man. I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah, well, and now, and at the same time, I can understand the other viewpoint, because creating something is different than me going to a job and making putting data on an Excel worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
On the plus side, though, is unless Ditko left it all to his cat, which in his case could have happened, his family can sell those stacks of original art he had sitting in his apartment for the last 30 years of his life.
That's true.
He could have sold and improved his lot in life for decades. He chose not to because, well, he was Steve Ditko.
Yeah. Well, you can make a strong argument, again, being a work for hire. DC and Marvel are under no obligation to bring original art to the pencilers.
And honestly, in those days, again, like I said, work for hire, and this was an era where comics didn't aspire to be anything more than great comic books. It wasn't until yes, there was a Spider-Man series, and yes, there was a Hulk series, but in a Superman movie, but it wasn't until really the end of the next decade that they really started to do stuff with these characters, which made everything. It changed everything, and from I guess the comic book art becoming worth more to the creators wanting control of everything they do in case it becomes a show or a movie. And it dilutes the product at the big two. And yeah, the stuff that the indie stuff, I guess, yeah, for every Miller world, there's a whole bunch of things that could have been retooled maybe and become great characters for Marvel and DC that we'll never see for that reason.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, so here's the thing. I've always looked at it as, especially, I'll call it the early days of comics, up to like the up to the 60s. I think, for a lot of it, you could equate it to like advertising, because there you had creatives in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that same mentality in terms of, here's a job, here's an assignment I've got, I'm going to work on this and create it, and I'll create a new character to, be able to complete the assignment the way that, I'm being, paid to do it, and then move on. It's not like, a creative at an advertising agency is then saying like, oh yeah, no, I want permanent lifetime, rights to, this Marlboro ad that I created, and to be able to then go take it, elsewhere. Now, when we get to Shooter in the 80s, that's where I have less sympathy with the creators, because at that point, there have already been some early battles in terms of creators trying to get their work back and once understanding copyright. At that point, you start to know what you're getting into. So if you feel that strongly, okay, then negotiate a contract that says, okay, yeah, every character I create, I get X% of royalties with it.
I actually thought that about Jack Kirby. He goes to DC Comics because Marvel Comics is treating him like crap. When he went to DC Comics, he knows how Marvel has treated him, so he wouldn't want DC to do the same. But Jack Kirby was a product of the Great Depression. He was always worried about what legacy he's going to leave to his wife and to his family. So he was willing to take any contract that came along. He was a workhorse because he was always trying to fill up the coffers and get some money in there. And he was great artist, not the greatest businessman, didn't understand that one of the ways you could do that is by writing your own ticket. And let's face it, he was Jack Kirby. By the time he went to DC, though, he wasn't Jack Kirby. He was Jack Kirby. At that point, even he was somewhat belittled by the Marvel and DC higher-ups as being just old hat. Why do you need him? Forget about the fact that not but 8 years earlier, he creates the freaking Marvel Universe with Stan Lee. Not that anybody's crediting him. Even in the 70s and such, people just... The people at Marvel did not want to include Jack Kirby into the conversation of the creation of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, and just before we go on, I got to address Robert Roberts. Yes, comic artists have been well known to be dumb financially, but again, there are thousands of stories of music publishers, music producers screwing over the artist left and right in terms of who owns the rights. It's more of an exception than a rule that the artist owns their stuff. I mean, RCA may not have owned all the rights to the Beatles songs, but Michael Jackson did. He bought it from somebody else at the time.
I'll go on ahead, finish up.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, one of the great positive examples of that, and again, it's kind of one of the reasons why I always loved Hootie and the Blowfish. Was Darius and the guys, they were all college graduates, I think, from University of South Carolina, and they had taken business courses and they understood. And one of the smartest things they ever did was they did not sell their songs or their rights to the publishing company or to a producer. They held on to the rights to their songs. So every time that Hootie and the Blowfish song gets played or whatever, they're the ones that are getting paid for it, and it's allowed them to have a really nice life, and they can tour whenever they want and do what they want. But that's the exception to the rule when it comes to the music industry.
And they've been so successful that Darius Rucker only has to do 2 rodeo openings a month.
All righty. So
green.
So just so he doesn't come on only to smile occasionally and we're all entertained by his dog, by all means, Zach, what topic do you want to talk about? What is
Oh no, I'm
giving you the
listening to y'all.
Is-
No, I just hopped on. Just when I hopped on, I think you were doing that feel good story about Todd McFarlane, and
yeah, nice
yeah,
start there.
no, Todd McFarlane, one of the best guys in comics. Him and Rob Liefeld are the two best ones that I can think of. But yeah, other than that, I saw the thing about Batman. I actually read the panels earlier today, and I personally I didn't see it. Everybody on Twitter is all like, "Oh, he's bi. He likes men." I'm like, Batman lies all the time. You don't think he's gonna pretend to be close to somebody to get into the because it's like he's trying to steal something out of his jacket pocket. I think. So I'm just like, I didn't see it, but I've been wrong before. I was wrong 10 minutes ago with my chat comment about Kitty Pryde. So
by the way, okay, that was more of an indictment on how little musicians get in general now because of what they let the industry when they didn't fight file sharing, Napster, CD burning, et cetera, et cetera. They all cheered it until they realized there's a reason why you have Mick Jagger's hobbling around stage at 78 and why the Who was in Cincinnati yesterday, because the catalog does not sell. I don't care if you're Hootie and the Blowfish or the Who. Yeah. It's just, and that's, I mean, but I notice like all the cool songs that show up in commercials now that you would have never seen 30 years ago. And there's a reason why, Aerosmith still tours, because that catalog that used to keep them living in mansions won't pay for a phone booth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guarantee you though, that wherever that rodeo is, it has a damn good golf course.
No, I'm not particularly a fan of the music, but I do like him. I mean, I think he's a good guy.
Yeah. No, I what was it? There was a documentary or something. It might have been on Access TV or something. They were talking to the gang, and basically it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, one of the things we always set out, when we're planning a tour is where are the good golf courses at?
Well, they might have had the last gigantic selling CD. Cracked Rear View sold millions and millions. Yeah. And now I don't care who you are, you're not selling millions and millions anymore.
Yeah. No, it's become singles again. I mean, it's
there's no CDs, there's no album sales, it's all streaming.
Yeah, as soon as someone puts it online, someone can file share and
there still are CDs, and I do recommend you getting them because these days I'm a very big proponent for buy your physical media.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally.
If you like a movie, if you like a song, if you like a CD, buy it, because you never know when they're gonna decide to change it, and that's the only version you get.
Yeah. Well, especially with Spotify too, because I'll be listening to a song and then a month later the artist, there's some mix up and it gets taken down. So yeah, no, definitely.
Well, so if you want to build one hell of a movie library, now's the time to do it. Physical sales of DVDs are so far down in the toilet that you find a place that sells used ones, you can get them for peanuts, and that includes Blu-ray.
I got all 3 of the Jumanji movies at Walmart for like $10. They're all like in one set on DVD. It's crazy.
And the used market is completely crashed. So I mean, I can't believe how many Blu-rays I'm throwing into dollar bins.
I just picked up talking about Aerosmith. They a long time ago they put out a greatest hits. It was a 2-disc thing. The first disc was like before Giffen, the second disc was after. It's a really great set.
So it didn't need a second disc, is what you're saying.
I remember, yeah, that was my era. You know what? You're old. So there was but this disc, I remember when it first came out, this was like $25, $30 thing. And then now I saw it was like $6. All right, let me get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just yesterday, I played Self-Titled and Toys in the Attic in your honor.
Good stuff. That is good music, man. Aerosmith and Toys in the Attic are 2 of their best albums.
Well, Toys in the Attic might be my all-time top 50.
of like all bands.
Everything.
I can't argue that. That's a good freaking thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Back-
Marty, if any Criterion collection DVDs or Blu-rays show up in your dollar bin, let me know. Set those aside.
Well, no, those would get snapped up by my my hoity-toity godson, who has a subscription to Criterion. But no, the problem is nobody sells in DVDs anymore with us.
Yeah.
But places that do get like your half-price books and stuff like that, even they have started to adjust pricing. And like I said, because I mean, or they do it soon enough because they might price them as if they were still selling initially, and then when they realize they have to start carbon dating them, that it's time to mark them down.
No, there are a few DVDs that I would like to get a hold of just because there's a market for them, and it's not like RoboCop or something like that. It's that movie I talk about called Ruckus with Dirk Benedict playing Sylvester Stallone in First Blood. That is one of those movies. Those films that came out, nobody gave a crap. They only produced maybe 3 discs or so. Those are the ones that are actually kind of difficult to find, the cult movies and such.
Well, I mean, I do have an out-of-print version of RoboCop because once upon a time there was a Criterion Collection edition of RoboCop before they yanked back the rights to it.
For a little bit, you had to pay premium prices to get the unedited version. Now all versions tend to be the unedited version.
Now Glenzer does bring up a good point. A lot of those Criterions do escalate in value because they appeal to the physical media, portion of film fandom.
Well, because they're sold as basically like the best versions of the movie
absolutely
that you can get. And I always have to be careful whenever Barnes and Noble has their annual Criterion buy one get one free sale, or Criterion.com has their 50% off.
Oh yeah, you were probably sharing internet space with my nephew the last time that happened.
I've still got a couple in wrapped up that I haven't opened yet to watch. But I mean, I have I think my most recent Criterion was last September when they came out with the 10-disc Shaw Godzilla or Tohei Godzilla set that actually has. Oh, that's right. Keep talking. I'll pull it and show you here because it's got some Art Adams artwork in it.
Ooh.
Well, Maranya is saying Marvel Comics had references to music of their time. Break On Through the Other Side for one, and there she brought it back to comics. It might be in movies in danger of disappearing from the public. I am actually surprised at how many times I see Gone with the Wind getting smacked. What I think is funny is HBO said, "Yeah, we pulled Gone with the Wind," and everybody's like, "Aha, they pulled it!" And I'm like, "No, they didn't. They never did." I have HBO Max. When they said they pulled it, I went over to say, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I looked for it on HBO Max. It was never pulled. HBO Max just said they did, and the Twitter freaking mob shut the up. That is awesome.
They don't do their homework on anything. You just say something. Twitter is all reaction. Nobody goes and does homework for anything.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty.
No, it's Godzilla.
Undead Quinn says he looks for old TV shows. I used to have all 5 seasons of Moonlighting. I wish I did now because I would actually sell that.
I want to get. I need to get the Get Smart series on DVD. That was my favorite going.
It wasn't that published by Arts and Entertainment.
I think he's talking to you. Okay.
No, I'm talking to you, Zach.
About Get Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It was
Buck Henry Productions.
Was it Buck Henry?
Well, it was Mel Brooks Production Company.
It was. It was Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks and Buck Henry. It was both of them.
Yeah. So this is Bill Sienkiewicz.
Nice. Didn't he have us in the same position? George Bush biting the Empire State Building or something?
That was Alex Ross. Yeah,
that's right. Do you remember when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out on VHS and it was $80? Yes, I remember the $80 VHS tapes. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
I love
I can
that.
talk that. This is the Art Adams.
I love that. That's awesome. Does he have another one where he's like shoving the tree into his mouth?
I remember
Oh.
in the early 90s when you could buy the Cool as Ice VHS for $94.
Right. Cool as Ice is better than Casablanca. Let's
Duh.
see. I can prove it.
I've never
Let's
seen
see.
Cool
I'll
as
look
Ice.
for deleted scenes. And yeah, I love that scene where the turrets are automatically going off on the aliens. You don't actually see the aliens, though.
Yeah. So I think you recognize Sophie Campbell. I know she's done some comic book work. So.
Since you're showing it off.
Yeah, there you go.
And she's such a sweetheart.
For doing Destroy All Monsters.
I love Gone with the Wind. It was legally required watching in the South.
Yeah, this one's Jeff Darrow.
I think of I used to get box sets sometimes, and I remember at one point in time there was this huge box set that was Snow White when it first came out, and you got the book, the video cassette, like a whole bunch of lobby cards and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They used to do sets like that. But I'll tell you, I mean, the worst pricing. I mean, once you've got decent consumer pricing on VHS and DVDs, where again Japanese anime, where you would be paying $30 for volume 1 that may have between 2 to 4 episodes of a 24 episode or a 12 episode.
Yeah, they did that with the Monkeys too.
Yeah, I remember being so happy. It was a post Christmas or New Year sale on Best Buy where I was able to get the entire box set of Neon Genesis Evangelion. So it was like 10 discs in the box set for 50% off, which meant, I only had to pay $90 instead of $200. So everybody's favorite, Becky Cloonan.
Looks all right.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, it's fine, but I mean, compared to some of the other stylistic stuff on here, I thought it's one more weaker. A lot of.
Here's a question we're getting. And that's from Slitherclaw, who is saying, "What comic book is in danger of disappearing?" Now, obviously, any comic book that's not selling is in danger of being canceled. Be safe, honey. Love you. However, let's just think of it in terms of what we've been talking about. Think of it in terms of what modern day society is dealing with. What comic book character is in danger of going away? If not just maybe for permanent, but maybe just for a while until the tides change. What do you think?
Well, that was Punisher for a period, and then you came back, and because of the way they brought him back.
Yeah, he's the first one that popped into my head. I think after they tell this story, if people aren't like, "Yay, unviolent Punisher," I think we're going to be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." When you guys get your shit straight, then we'll jump back in.
Scalp Hunter.
Isn't he already kind of gone though?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about one that's actually in the public eye.
Okay,
nobody's hiring the Trigger twins to entertain the truth right now. Yeah, I'm talking about somebody that's already.
Well, they just added an ED to the end of their name and they get all the work they can handle.
They should be in a book with safe space.
Graphic Man, are you hearing this? You should be doing up the Triggered twins.
Yeah. Well, I would say, when was the last time we saw Ralph and Sue Dibney?
Oh. That's a healthy, straight relationship, though.
Yeah,
you can't have that.
Did they even make it to New 52? Because I know they had a story arc in 52, the weekly series. But
that was horrible. That was the worst of it.
Well,
though.
the last I remember them was being kind of like detective ghosts for something.
Yeah, that's the last thing I remember.
But I don't think I think they've just been completely memory holed now.
In New
Yeah.
52, Ralph was a member of the Secret Six.
He did make it to the New 52.
He made it, and I think his wife made it too. That's what Wikipedia says. So I don't know.
We can be happy that the New 52 revived Sue Dibney while they destroy the rest of the DC universe.
1 point for New 52. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, there's a whole bunch of characters you can argue. I mean, I can name off the top of my head like almost any of the new Warrior characters. Like, if they don't have a movie basically or a TV show, they're probably going to disappear. Face a retcon that makes them relevant by today's
Hopefully,
standards.
I could find some time tonight. I want to get it done by Thursday, but I watched one of these speculator videos, and it was 4 guys, and they didn't know it, but they were saying exactly what I've been saying all along. Which one, of course, being speculating on the movie business is bullshit, because it's not a very stable bridge. Let's just put it that way that you're trying to cross here. And as soon as, of course, the movie comes out, it's like an alarm clock. Book ain't valuable no more. It's and they've been doing this where they're showing, books you shouldn't invest in anymore. One guy actually put the first appearance of Falcon and Harley Quinn. I'm like, you're full of shit. You do know that, right? These are what's called evergreens. Always invest in those. But the thing is, they kind of make the point. So I want to do a reaction video to these guys talking. Yeah. Because while the question that was put to me, and we made the live stream about it, was, is Comic Tom destroying the comic book hobby? Of course not. He's just reporting on what people are buying. But is that kind of speculation not destroying, but definitely messing it up? But I think there's a video there because because they're not speculating on the comic books, they're speculating on the movies, and it's ridiculous.
And what it's the long-term effect is the artificial inflation of books in the middle of a run, and then those books getting snapped up by the same group of people that either turn and flip them or put them in a safe somewhere. It discourages collectors, again, because if you say you want to collect the Daredevil Volume 2, thanks to Echo being in a movie or maybe in a movie or whatever, you've got 3 issues that are like $80, $200, and $100.
Yeah.
And you can't find them because the guy that buys them to try to get 90, 210, and 120 out of them, snap them up as soon as because they go to the stores every day to look.
Yep.
So collectors can't get even if they could get the books they need to fill their runs, they're overpaying for them, which leaves them 2 options: overpay even more on eBay, or just quit. A lot of people are choosing the quit option.
Tomorrow, I don't know how your comic shop deals with it, but tomorrow, I believe it's Harley Quinn. It might be Catwoman, but I think it's Harley Quinn because on the cover they have Harley Quinn and Catwoman. There's going to be a character who made her first appearance in the Batman animated series and is finally making an appearance in comics. Hasn't done it since the series has been in there. It's called the Red Claw or something like that. If you are a Catwoman fan, or if you are a speculator or Harley Quinn or wherever it's supposed to be, make sure you get there early before the speculators do, because they're just going to buy the shit out of these.
You're talking about number 43?
I guess.
Catwoman?
And then they're going to put them in their box right next to their box of punchlines.
Yeah, right. No, actually what they'll do is they'll immediately put it on eBay for double the price, triple the price, and
do it quick because it's DC. They don't last.
That is true. Speculators probably the only thing driving sales. Is Bad Comics Review, all the variant covers, constant number ones, and faux hype, all for the speculators. Yes, Specs market is insane. Try to find Lady Killer by Dark Horse on the cheap.
Yeah, well, I kind of separate because bad comic review stream there actually makes a really good point. I think probably what's worse in terms of hurting the comic industry than just the pure speculators like that of, oh, Echo is in an MCU show, let's go, drive up her first appearance, is this sudden, reliance on the variants, and specifically the 1 in 10s, the 1 in 20s, the 1 in 50s. I mean, imagine how bad sales would be now if those variants weren't around, because so many stores are buying 100 copies of Catwoman number 43 because they, in order to get the 1 in 100 variant done by Art Journal or whatever. And if you notice at the same time, though, if you notice, a lot of those now aren't going up in value.
No,
it's basically kind of more or less, if you calculate it's whatever the price would be of buying 100 issues of the regular book plus a small premium.
Well, there is a market for the 1 100, 1 1000, but the multiple variant covers originally was designed to put a dent in piracy, because there's no point in pirating a variant cover. So at least it forces you to buy the actual book, and it sucks that it's come to that, because like I said, it's just but as far as like the speculators with the I don't know, if you want to speculate on variant covers, knock yourself out. The one that gets me as a collector, and B as someone that has to sell this stuff, I hate that there's like at Marvel. Like I said, if you want to build a great comic book collection, collect DC.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the past 20 years or so, there are hundreds of Marvel books, individual Marvel books, that have escalated greatly in sales due to speculation. DC has Teen Titans 12, First Batman Who Laughs. I don't know that there's a second example right now, because Punchline flatlined. Harley Quinn was in the 90s. They just don't exist. Even the Suicide Squad stuff has come way, way, way down.
Oh, I just looked, and we are limited, by the way. I just saw. That's not fun. They cut the funding, basically. I guess because of the Bi-Curious Batman title, maybe, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just noticed they demonetized. It's essentially they demonetized it. So that's always nice. Yeah, that's what I got to say about it too. When I saw that, I was like, well, damn. Yeah, I guess because I've got Bi-Curious Batman in the title, but I thought it was a fun title. Holy Bi-Curious Batman, DC Comics. Yeah. I thought it was.
How is that offensive? Good Lord.
I don't know. Maybe they think that we're going to say something bad about gay people or something. Didn't, but that might be the way they're thinking. So here comes the e-bagging. If y'all don't mind leaving a super chat or going to Ko-Fi, by all means, drop $1 in the tip jar. Certainly appreciate it. I mean, it's not a requirement. I never held it to, but there you go. Lots of fun. But yeah, they do that. Certain words, I guess, will get banned, and there you go.
Comic Book Prep says limited just means the stream went up in value.
Right. Yeah. If that was according to comics, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, not so much. But let me see if I also noticed that I thought I put the thumbnail in, but I guess I didn't. So that's what I'm doing now. The other video I posted one that I wanted to talk about how you are not Marvel's customer. And I just posted that video earlier tonight. So if you haven't watched that, give that a view after we shut down shop here. I think you'll be pleasantly entertained. Let me see if I can't get this thing going in here and get us a thumbnail that I just noticed. But yeah, it kind of sucks because you want to talk about stuff. You want to talk about this stuff, and they immediately they immediately demonetize it, and that kind of it discourages people from talking about serious issues or issues that may actually interest people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I guess it's a way of censoring without censoring. Yeah, so
I would imagine there are other folks on YouTube that could do the exact same title and talk the exact same language, and YouTube is fine with them.
Probably so, considering I saw on Steve Crowder, they had this thing. It was called Dick or Dildo, and one guy, his face was showing and everything, and his boyfriend was behind him, and he had to guess what was being inserted into his anus, and that was not marked as not kid friendly and it was still monetized, the whole 9 yards. So very, very interesting. I thought it was the title, Guessing the Convo, and some of your opinions had something to do with it. That might be smoky. But the thing is we've never said anything bad about any people, not once, for being gay or for being any of anything.
Yeah.
Well,
the offense to my comments. Blame it on me.
Well, the difference, I said, we are not going to just because you subscribe to one of these groups. I know the design is to inoculate from any form of criticism, and we're not like that here. We're not mean-spirited, but we also won't effusively praise something just because you did it.
Right. We don't no participation trophies.
I need more out of my comics than someone is now gay.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
It's really boring after the 10th story where it's the same thing.
Well, as I've said before in other streams, I live in a very diverse place. I've seen black people do things, so don't just tell me you're making a character black. I've seen gay people do things. I've worked at theme parks for a long time. I know that everybody is competent and capable. So you're not impressing me by saying, hey, I am, or they are, or this is that. It just doesn't do it. You have to do something with the characters. And as I said earlier, modern day writers just don't do that.
Nope. They're lazy it's laziness most of the time.
Their entire push for it is just the demographic itself. And one thing I actually mentioned earlier is, are you ever insulted by the fact that it is just pure pandering, by the fact that they do not write people who are not white straight males as anything other than the worst stereotypical version of whatever minority it is? It's gotten really bad. We were talking, I visited Tristan's channel yesterday, and we were talking about Sandman. Sandman's one of the most brilliant stories brought to comics. And by today's standards, it would be considered woke. Not back then. But the thing is, I actually don't believe it would be considered woke today because it was written well. Now, granted, they did mention a few of the troubles that somebody of a certain demographic would be, but they didn't make the character only that. They didn't make the characters only that. And you had bisexual, you had pansexual, you had transsexual, you had all sorts of characters all throughout the Sandman, but they were well written, fully rounded human beings in their stories. And that's not what you're getting in modern characters, be they Marvel or now steering way too heavy and way too shitty DC Comics. I'm a huge DC Comics fan, and I've said this before, the problem with John Kent wasn't them making him gay. The problem with John Kent was them aging him up, so we missed the story of a kid coming into his own
identity
in real time.
Yeah.
One thing also that I've mentioned in just a few things, all you have to do is to make some of these comic books a little bit deeper. I mentioned Aquaman, or the what is his name? The gay guy.
Jackson Hyde.
Okay, so he goes out, first guy he talks to happens to be gay and happens to be into him. And I thought, how much better would that story be if they had a friendship and Jackson liked him, but he was straight. He wasn't interested in that. So now you've got kind of now you got this guy, he's kind of forlorn and he's into this dude, but he's straight. Now you have a story. What do you do in that situation?
It was done 20-something years ago by Ron Mars or Judd Winnick in Green Lantern. There's a gay character named Terry who was in love with Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle dealt with it. Basically, he goes, look, I'm flattered, but I'm not gay. And the character of Terry, was hurt for a minute and then became a friend. And they just went on. And he became a recurring character in the book.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, it would be nice to have that story for.
Yeah,
it was a great run. I mean, that was the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern was, to me at the time, infinitely more interesting than the Hal that had come before it, because Kyle had way more depth to his personality and way more interesting supporting characters.
Yeah, it seems like Kyle actually is probably the most underrated of the four original human Green Lanterns. Everyone talks about John, Hal, and Guy.
Okay, yeah, Smokey Collects, by all means, come on in and have your voice heard. Right, seriously. You can tell us, you can actually point out to where any of us said that these people are bad for being gay, for being black, for basically not being a straight white male. If that's fine. I do actually welcome people who disagree. You can come on in, have a nice, respectful conversation, and it will be respectful because I will not tolerate the other way around. I will not tolerate a disrespectful conversation. But yeah, so come on in. Christopher Bart, no, come on, you've been around, but by all means.
Oh, I guess he's not saying that.
Oh, no. Well, I thought I only actually, when I saw Marani's comment, I turned away. I would understand that, except it didn't stay on the books. It strayed to actual opinions of what schools are doing to the kids. Did we?
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Did we talk about that? I don't remember
we did.
that.
We did.
Yeah, it came up. Both Breen and I talked about
okay, you two talked about it. Sometimes I got to admit, if they're taking the conversation, you may actually see me go, that's either A, I froze, or B, I'm actually looking at the next story, what we can bring up or something like that.
This is what happens when we don't get to talk about old comic books.
Yeah. But no, by all means, please come on in. It will be. If you disagree with us, I want to make sure you get your voice heard. And you're right about that. All the writers, all of them doing this. I don't think anybody said all the writers are doing this. But I will say this. I will say that modern comic writers who do this, everything we say about it, I absolutely stand behind.
Now, about to say, to Smokey Collects, you are absolutely correct. This was not the place for it. And I said,
okay.
So we steered it back to comics, and
but still, please, still, Smokey, come on in. That's the main part of the. Don't miss the main part of the invitation. Come on in. I want to see that Dakota guy go on your show from yesterday's stream on Nerdette's channel. That guy has come at me at times in the past. That was weird. That was one of those things. Like Smokey Collects has been around. He's heard me speak, so if I don't think he has a poor view on it. He just disagrees with us on this. But this person, by the way, that MK is bringing up, heard me say like 2 sentences and then had me completely figured out from A to Z. And I was like, no, you come on to my show, man. You come on to my show. And we'll talk. And of course didn't, but yeah, I just want to make sure that everything's cool. This panel is old and biased.
I'm not old.
Yeah, we
Well,
got
yeah,
If you're going to do that, you better come on here and defend yourself.
that's right. We're old. Zach is biased.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
would you rather be old?
No, I'll take bias.
There
bias.
you go.
Yeah.
Smokey.
He's
But
not agreeing or disagreeing, he says.
that's fine.
Oh, he's saying that might be why you got demonetized.
That could, well, actually, no. The thing is there is a video out there that is all about words that you cannot put in your titles. I did put in one of those words when I put in bisexual. You cannot put in bisexual without getting. And also, by the way, he's also right though that if you are speaking in terms, you can actually get flagged during the live stream, and they will demonetize it while they're investigating it.
You should have put in your title. You should have put in they brought back the Batwang.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, usually that takes somebody actively, viewing it and saying, I don't like this, and flagging it. And then, of course, YouTube will be their dutiful little selves and go, okay, click.
I think Bad Comic Reviews has it right. Yeah.
No, your background looks more like the interior of a movie theater around here that I went to. Well, it's where I saw the Northman out. It was over in Dublin, for anybody who happens to know California, Northern California Bay Area. But I hadn't realized they had completely redone the theater in the 2 years since I've last been there. And I mean, walking inside, they completely redid the front. They got rid of all the the ticket windows at the front, like you used to have in a traditional movie house. And so it's all now, you go inside and you go to a kiosk, and hit a touch screen and choose what movie you want, kind of thing. And that's in the middle. And then on one side it's got a coffee bar, another side it has a regular bar for alcoholic drinks. And stupid watch. Then it's got the concession stand. It's got a smoothie bar over on the other area. It's kind of insane. It's all dark. It's almost like walking into like the interior of Space Mountain.
Oh,
it's really what it reminded me of.
Let me go back to because I see somebody saying that Miss So is saying it's interesting how some folks that challenge you guys never seem to want to come on the show. Not talking about I'm not talking about Smokey Collects. But the thing is I literally am inviting you on, disagree or agree. Come on in, guys. It's one of those situations. If you haven't been on, you haven't had your mic tested, jump on, be a part of the conversation.
And I do want to say, Zach, I saw that look on your face, and it's true. You look like an extra from season 3 of Stranger Things.
I'll take it. I like season 3 of Stranger
There you
Things.
go. And Glinter is saying Elon Musk should buy YouTube. Wouldn't that be nice?
He just spent all of his money on Twitter, though.
I was going to say, at this point, Elon needs to buy YouTube and Facebook and Disney.
Ooh, would I have rather he bought Disney than Twitter? I think so. I think in an alternate universe, I would rather Elon buy Disney than Twitter. I can live without. I lived without Twitter for a year.
Yeah. But again, at the same time, I'm not. I'm taking very much a wait and see. Elon's said a lot of things I agree with, but at the same time, he's had positions and viewpoints that I necessarily disagree with. So we'll see what happens.
I liked his role in Iron Man 2. I like his little cameo. Every time I watch Iron Man 2, he has that little cameo. I was like, hey.
Yeah, well, I like Gary Shandling's better. So R.I.P. Gary.
But at least Elon doesn't want to censor your opinion disagreeing with his.
That's true.
Yeah, we have no idea yet. I am at a very wait and see because he still is Elon Musk. I don't know him personally. So on one hand, I really am hoping he's the hero everybody believes him to be. And on the other, aggressively relaxing. I'll make fun of everybody's stupid opinions.
Okay,
You'll get a kick. You'll get a kick out of me aggressively relaxing. I've got bad ones.
There's no here's my rules, and it's very simple. No slurs. I don't tolerate them. I just don't. And I see. When I say that, the one thing that gets done a lot is someone who feels too free to use white as an insult. That's always the sneaky one because too many people think it's okay. No, if you use white as a slur, you're out. I don't like any slurs, racial or as far as sexuality is. Like don't call a gay guy the F word. It's pretty simple. Beyond that, be respectful and please don't use all caps because it gives Marani a headache.
Yeah. Otherwise, have at it, kids.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go. It's easy rules.
Yeah.
I'm watching on TV using my tablet to type. Yeah, anytime you want. I've got an open door. If you agree or disagree, you want to get your voice heard, come on in or ask at some point. Batman yesterday jumped in, thankfully, because it was me and RDV, and RDV's internet crapped out on him, and it turned out to be a pretty decent conversation. Everybody here showed up because I have an open door policy. Jump on. All of a sudden, I'm not letting Eric go. He's a bevy of knowledge. Everybody else.
I will sell my square cheap.
Everybody else can come in and out, but sorry, Breen, you're here for life.
Yeah. And I can say that because we've already been demonetized.
I know, right? I know. Right? There's no amount of F words you can't use. Actually, I'm pretty sure what happened is, as Smokey was saying, that somebody saw the thing and went, okay, flag this.
In that case, I'm going to use a Daltonian amount of F-bombs.
Oh, Lord.
Damn it!
Dalton, who, by the way, is on my Disney, when I was really aiming, going through the Disney thing really heavy, he was on my Disney channel dropping F-bombs, man. Hey, Smokey, what's up, my friend?
Oh, that's funny.
How you doing?
Hey, welcome, Smokey.
Hey.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now you know Jerry Garcia survived. Okay, so how are we trucking these days, sir?
Doing good. This is new to me, so I've never used.
It's okay. It's always somebody's first time on it. You're turning down the lights, getting the mood set.
I'm trying to turn down the audio. I don't. My
Get
light
the little.
here is the bulb blew out this afternoon.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm pausing the muting the audio on my TV.
Yeah. All righty. And by the way, aggressively relaxing, by all means, please join the conversation. Do what you feel you have to do. But also remember that I've got 15 blue wrenches. So
that's true. It's like that scene from Home Alone 2 where he opens the door and the tool bag unzips and all the wrenches. That's a gif of what happens in the chat.
No stupid troll ever gets past that first N before they're totally taken off. So what do you want to talk about today, Smokey?
It seemed like can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Again, new. I've never done this.
Okay. The floor is yours.
For some reason, I'm getting the audio from like a few minutes ago where you just said something about white as a slur.
No.
Are you listening? Is your sound on the YouTube? Because that might be why. If your sound is on your YouTube, it's you can hear it, especially if it's been going slow. I've frozen a couple of times, so probably it's playing catch up, and that's why it's from a little bit ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was hearing you trying to talk to me, but I was also hearing everyone else's words for the last 5 minutes.
That's how come a lot of us wear the headphones.
Yeah.
And that way we could put it on YouTube without having the sound on. And LK is just from another planet, so he is actually just reading the green lines and so forth and so on. Yes.
Okay, I can't. No, I was just saying. Again, I'm sorry. I'm not used to. I'm hearing it. I was only saying. Yeah, what I was saying was just because the title and part of the conversation got to a point where, if for some reason because of the title you were now being observed.
Yep.
It flagged. part of that conversation had an opinion that was, I feel outdated unless you know or have been talking to a bunch of teenagers or preteens who are going to school and gave you that particular opinion about, as he said, indoctrinated. The gay or whatever the exact words were.
There
I was
is
like, no, I've listened to my niece, my nephew, my other nephews from the other side of my family. No one says they experience high school that way in any way, shape, or form. Although nowadays, kids are a little more open with their emotions, boys and girls. Well, more boys than girls. But I haven't heard anything that suggested that they get
this might
more
actually
praise or treated differently if they act more gay or willing to try being gay.
Oh no! This is something I had said, so I'll address it really quick, and then we're going to steer this back to comics as much as possible. But what I meant when I said that was more of what you see on social media. Than I can't tell you what happens in high school. Even my kids are 10 years out of that. So, let me introduce to Orc War Chief Reviews. How you doing? My kids are 10 years out of that. So, you got to turn off the YouTube there, brother.
Please turn down your radio.
Sorry, turn it down. Turn down the YouTube.
Yeah. Caller, please turn down your radio.
You gotta turn off the YouTube.
Caller, please turn down your radio.
Can you hear me?
I ended up turning down the volume
we can
on my
hear
you guys coming in.
Went up on TV.
Yeah.
And I don't get kicked.
That
might actually be what's going on. Hello to Orc War. Yes.
Yeah.
The caller, please turn down your radio.
I think that's you, Smokey.
Yeah, I'm not on.
Hold on just a second. Hold on. Let me handle. Yep, it's you, Smokey. I think that's you, Smokey. That's what's going on.
Oh, all right. So it's not okay. Hold on.
Yep. All right, there we go. Okay, so all of a sudden we have a full house.
I'm going to take this opportunity to watch my Red Sox choke away another game.
No, I want to talk to you. Oh man!
All right.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got nothing interesting to say.
Say what you need to, so he could go watch his Red Sox lose while we continue this conversation.
Oh, so what's your favorite color you lived for the past decade? That's not bad.
The favorite from the last decade?
Yes.
Oh, that's an easy one. Venditti's Hawkman.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without hesitation, without irony, the Hawkman written by Venditti was the best in the last 10 years. Yep. We actually have a video here where we did count down and we took votes and everything, and Venditti's Hawkman was the number one story of the last 10 years. Easily.
Yeah, favorite from the first decade was Brubaker's Cap, Venditti's Hawkman, but my favorite story would probably be, I think it was called Declaration, the 2 issues where the Kents went on the
the 4th of July.
July. I love that story from Rebirth. That made me happy. My favorite story from the past decade with John and Clark and Lawrence going to 4th of July.
Or the 5th issue of America.
Well, that's just brilliant, like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Seriously, that is just a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, that is Chavez. That story.
All righty, so have a good time.
You guys have a good rest of the stream.
Good day, man. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, so by all means, welcome to Orc War Chief. I guess Orc War. What's up?
It's not much. I saw this Batman being by, and I kind of just went, "What's up with that?" And I just kind of had to come in and check.
That is true.
Bullshit. This sounds BS, right?
It really is, because Batman's not really. There's a huge laundry list of ladies he's been with. Mm-hmm. And I can't think of a single person he's been with that would consider the bi ratio. It leads it down a very dark road. What was that? The reason he got Dick Grayson and all these other young boys with him? Is that
Well, that's what I said. He gave Frederick Wortham some bullets. The whole thing.
Yeah, didn't they spend years trying to convince people that it wasn't a thing with him and Dick being in the same house, and now it's like, oh yeah, no, that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, so you have to understand, all those stories have been previously suppressed, and it's going to take the people with a talent like Chip Zdarsky, Pete Ayala to tell the true story of Bruce Wayne.
And can we all be honest here? It's not like it's Batman's not really he's more into the ladies, but I would go more of a groomer aspect with him, just for the simple fact that girl.
Yeah,
that just creeps me out. That will forever creep me out. That
killing joke. I said this.
Can a stream get double demonetized?
I guess it will be. I said this before. I actually thought those were two cartoons. I wish they were, so you could separate. I do own the DVD. I think the killing joke part of, I do think the killing joke part of the other. Is that
Hello.
Hi. But I thought that the killing joke part of it is awesome.
Yeah,
Hello.
it is. It really is.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
How's your day going?
And who do we have here?
This is my daughter.
Hello.
Aww.
Just want to say hi because she sees me up on the TV.
Okay, well, hello to Snowcat. How are you?
How's your day going?
Hannah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, have fun.
Have fun. Bye.
You wanted to be a part of it, huh?
That was fun.
That's fine. My nieces wanted to do the same thing when they were here. They were like, "Oh, we see ourselves on TV. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, that's awesome." Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if that page is bait and switch to generate controversy and get people to read the book and live stream like this. It might just be. And congratulations.
That was my thought, because I didn't see it. It wasn't spelled,
doesn't it?
But here's the thing. I actually had 4 stories to talk about tonight, and we managed to stretch this topic out to an hour and a half, which leaves 2 topics for another live stream. This is awesome for a content creator. So,
well, I'm kind of
fine with it.
Isn't this normal for you guys?
Yeah, we actually used to do 5 to 7 hour live streams on the usual, but thankfully my wife came back, and I have a life again, which is why you don't see the amount of videos you used to go. You used to see from me. I used to do a video at 9, 3, and 9 every day, and then I would live stream at about midnight, and it would go until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So that was probably why I was able to get to 18,000. Now it depends on if my wife has me doing anything, whether or not I'll get a video out that day. So, by the way, for those of you who think if I'm whipped or not, the answer is yes. Absolutely. And I don't believe there's anything better to be whipped by. Thank you. Let's see. Runs on EST from showing up to stream length. Yeah, that's. Let's see. It's funny. Most are either super shy from the camera or like saying hello. I used to be super shy. But you know what? The thing is, one of the favorite live streams, and it was like 3 years ago, I can't get them back on now, was my daughters talking about anime. I have begged them to come back because they're 2 different personalities. So you have the smiley, my youngest, Elizabeth, and she's like, yeah, and I like this, blah, 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 and let me talk about that. And she'll just like, just rapid fire talk about whatever anime or manga that she's reading. And then my oldest daughter is like, oh, F-bomb this, F, oh, what the F? And she is like, yeah, well, yeah, I get it.
I love talking about my anime because I want to know the anime manga themselves.
Yeah. How old's your daughter?
What, me?
No, the guy who actually. Why you didn't have a daughter on Tevi? Maybe I'm talking about something else.
I saw the Spy Families. Okay, I think I didn't.
I'm even more of a weeb than you are. Okay, so
I got him. Nice.
Yeah, I have none. These two nieces seem to love being on. Well, they did. They would always walk around. I don't know if we're going to get them for the summertime. But
I was so happy. I wore my brother down after months.
I didn't even hear you ask that question. She's delayed and she's 20. I'm gonna go because for some reason I'm getting conversation from
everywhere.
Like a few minutes ago.
Heavy. But hey, the door's always open, Smokey. You're always welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Have a good one, man.
It was unnerving, but
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you guys. I do enjoy your content, 100%.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You're always welcome.
Yep.
All right. Anime is definitely a popular young. Yeah.
That's
and
what
it
I'm
works.
seeing. I'm seeing more of it on YouTube. Maybe it's because I watched a few videos and YouTube's like, oh, he might like to watch this and this.
The
But
sad thing I found out, because I had a conversation with my daughter. I told my daughter, I will buy the booth. Like if she wants to go to MegaCon, I will pay for the booth. I will actually pay for prints and everything. I will help set her up as best as possible. And then I had a conversation. Every time I bring that up, she gets really, really nervous and she kind of pulls away from art.
Aw, that's sad.
So in my trying to encourage, I guess I'm being a bit stage momish or something, and she's pulling away from it. I hate that idea. She
No, I dream die. Let dream go forward.
No, I completely encourage it. I'm willing to pay for it. As a matter of fact. Then she hated the idea. She hated the fact that when I would put some of her art on, I would always devalue it. Apparently, she's like, well, no, she's right about that though. I would always put a low price on it. It's an auction, so supposedly it's going to go up. But if nobody buys it, and I put it up at a starting bid of 15, and somebody only buys it for one bid, then she worked a week for $15. Would you like to work a week for $15?
No.
Yeah, so we had a conversation recently, and I tried to let her know, just talk to me. Don't worry about it. You know, I'm not going to lose my stuff if you disagree with me or you want to say something bad or something. And she told me that, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, because I am her biggest fan. I think she's got some beautiful art. She's pretty damn good artist, but she's one of the best colorists I've ever seen.
Ooh.
And I think, and I told her, I said, I'm not saying that as a dad. I'm saying that as a comic book collector for the last 44 years. So I think she's got something. So.
Ooh, maybe she could draw it at the a indie book or draw it a DC book. Maybe DC had to get ready to draw something.
All right, right now she would be way too qualified for DC Comics. And she has never had a job.
Is that sad though? Like, can we all be honest? Like, I've been saying that to a lot of my friends. I'm like, wow, man, if you could actually get into an industry right now, and it's like a younger guy, and he's like, I can't seem to get. I try, and I'm like, it's just pathetic. And then I see this Nebula comic, and I'm like, oh, just, damn, what the hell happened?
We, in my day as a teenager, we had Fred Himbeck, but they didn't give Fred Himbeck the X-Men. You know, it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna do this really adult story called Moonshadow. Who should we get? Fred Himbeck. Fred Himbeck was for the Marvel Age. He was for the what do you call it? The Assistant Editors Month. When they wanted something fun and playful, they brought Fred Himbeck in. And I love his art. I love for what he does. Spider-Ham, by the way, if you ever saw that, Fred Himbeck. Now you got Riley Rosmo, who should be a Fred Himbeck, and he's freaking mainstream. He's drawing regular titles and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't fit. It's horrible. Now, I'm a little bit different, and this is something you guys could tell me if I'm wrong, please, in the chat. I want to hear from you. I think there should be an art house style. Bear with me for a second. By that I mean this. We know how Superman looks. I say Jose Garcia Lopez, make his style. That's how Superman's supposed to look. Now, you draw him, but within your own style, fine, sure. But I see like I'll see like Catwoman, and in one comic she has this square face, and then the next one it's all angular. Why not always with a, your face doesn't change. Maybe you'll gain weight, lose weight, whatever. But we all basically have the same bone structure. Can we at least give them the same bone structure? Which, in all honesty, if you look at a Riley Rosmo book, they all have the same freaking bone structure as in Plastic Man. It doesn't fit. So I would like to see that kind of stuff.
I mean, to be, again,
have a good night yourself.
Allegedly, there are character sheets, for all of these characters. But what you're talking about is absolutely 100% the fault of the editor. The editor is the one that should be getting the pages and going, okay, something doesn't look right. Go pull the character sheets. Okay, that's not really, even though you've got a style that still doesn't necessarily fit what we're looking for, go, redo this. They don't do that. Instead, again, it's, whatever your style is, as long as it's in a general sort of range, and
as long as
two cat ears on the top of her cowl, that's
as long as the artist falls within the certain demographics too. I'm sure it has something to do with it as well.
Well, that and what?
Go on ahead, real quick there, Tevi.
Well, that and what? When Johnny Jean on DC, he's always horrible at DC. It's like the people are lazy. Like, instead of doing actual hard work, doing actual effort into the artwork.
That would be nice. We actually have seen, if you ever looked at Erica Henderson's work on Squirrel Girl, and then you go and see it even in a mini series like what was that called, the Assassination or something like that. Her art is
the
actually
ugly Squirrel Girl, or is that the actual nice looking Squirrel Girl?
No, the ugly Squirrel Girl was Erica Henderson. But the point being, the point I'm making is that when Erica Henderson did her own books, it was actually not bad. And that unfortunately is a way of going. Marania's saying she heartily agrees should be a standard of art for the big two, not Tumblr art. Go back to George Lopez for DC, George Perez for Marvel. Or George Perez for everything. Let's just do that all-encompassing thing.
Yeah. Well, in Glenser, it's funny you mentioned that because it's not tolerated by Disneyland or Disney World. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's an equivalent thing in Disney World because Disney World's got everything. But over in California Adventure, there's an art and animation area. And there's a really cool store in there that has, copies of stereographs and cells and what have you.
There's all the art of animation.
Okay, there's always like 2 or 3 artists that are there that you can get commissions from, or buy things from. And so I wound up getting kind of a cool pencil drawing of a Dash from The Incredibles.
Nice.
And again, they are definitely following a specific style of, hey, this is what the character looked like, in the cartoon that you're familiar with. So this is how you have to draw it, regardless of who you are. So in the park, certainly in that section, they have, there is no artistic interpretation of, the Disney characters. It is you draw it this way or else. But obviously they don't bother doing that with the comic books currently.
Yeah, it's all over the place, and that's what it becomes disjarring. You go from one end to the other. It's just it's not fun.
The worst thing is
the
worst thing I see is, like you saw with some of the Rebirth titles where they started making them weekly or bi-weekly, and instead of one artist, you had 2 artists on the same book, and to go from somebody who's good to mediocre or good to bad or something like that. To me, that just kind of pulls you out of the story. It didn't hurt as much for Wonder Woman because one week would tell one story, the other week would tell another one. So at least you had the same creative teams and the same narrative. But it still was just, it was, as you said, jarring. But I can't say this is a new thing. Think back to Wolverine, even in the 80s, where he would look one way in the X-Men, but in another book, the size of his claws or the hair. I remember if you saw the painted Havoc versus Wolverine, at some point it was like back like 9 feet behind him. It's like, no, there's not enough hair gel in the world to make that work. It's not going to happen. So you always, or the bat ears. The bat ears have never actually been an exact size. So if you look at a Kelly Jones versus Norm Brayfogle, actually Norm Brayfogle could do some big ass ears too.
Yeah, but it's taking a character that we kind of know, and like Squirrel Girl is a beloved character, and then you give it to someone who, like she is. She
used to be.
Well, she used to be. She used to be, but that's the thing. She was a beloved character that then we're just gonna give it to someone, and it's just like, wow, this is bad. And the art's just awful, and just like it's a compounded more and more. Like it's like piling. It's like piling shit on your cake, so to speak. It's like, plop. It's like, well, I don't want to eat it now. You just ruined my cake by throwing all this other garbage like on the cake. It's disgusting.
At the very least, when we're talking. Oh, go on ahead, Tevye, and after you, I'll make my point.
Yeah, but another thing about the thing about it recently is John Romita on Spider-Man. Like we went from the great okay, to be honest, was crap. To be honest, all was bad. But John Romita Spider-Man, some of the things nostalgic, I think it's garbage. It's not great. It's just
John Romita Jr. has not been good for a long time, in my opinion. But
yeah.
Going back to Squirrel Girl, the one thing we all could agree with is that it is a big mistake for them to have canceled the movie with that freaking woman from the AT&T commercial. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a show. It was going to be the show.
Oh, the show. Either way, I looked at it and thought, wow, she would be great for it. She was in a werewolf film last year. I highly recommend. It was all about these people that are stuck in a lodge during a snowstorm and a werewolf.
Oh, I know what it is. It's the Ubisoft game that got the movie.
Well, okay, but it was good. It was good. For statues, they aim for the purest representation for comic and movie characters who want to spend hundreds of sideshow statues on the light. Yeah, that's true, Glenser.
That's very true.
Peach Momoko says Smokey last version or one of the most recent versions of the Wolverine looks horrendous. It looks like a wet, fantastic Mr. Fogg. He's not wrong. Have you ever read Demon Blades?
No.
I actually had a video. I don't know if I still have it, but a video on this channel. Just the whole thing was, what the hell's up with Peach Momoko? All the speculators, everybody was like, oh my gosh, Peach Momoko, greatest thing ever. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. You know what? I mean, what do they call it? Better than a poke in the eye? And all of us are wondering, what is LK staring at that is making him pissed at his computer screen?
Did I have that bad a look as I was looking?
You're like dead center right now, and this is what we're seeing.
Unfortunately, Deadspin was trending, and I had to find out why, and I wish I had.
Right.
So,
Let's see. Christopher Barkson. I give it comics not because of stuff like this, but because I was told that comic books are kid stuff and adults don't read kid stuff.
Bullpucky.
I think actually this is something. I think ours is the first generation, LK, that really said, you know what? I mean, en masse. Always you have exceptions to every generational rule, but en masse, we were the ones that said, you know what? If we're adults and can do whatever we want, I'm going to play video games and read comics.
Yeah. That's
well, can we all be honest? A little series called Savage Sword of Conan kind of throws that idea of comics being for kids.
That's
like
true.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See, even at the time, we were getting DC especially started maturing, but societally, until 2008, comic books were still seen for kids. Even though you, me, everybody who collected comics knew that they hadn't been for kids for a long time. They had specific lines that were for kids.
Well, yeah, there was that little correction code that came out because of some of the violent comments. Like there were, what was it? I can't remember the name of it. It's one of the old horror stuff where they literally have a guy like opening up a gift and there's a severed head in the box.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, we're talking early era.
Back
So,
to the EC days.
Yeah,
1949, 50s.
Mhm.
yeah. Let's be honest. None of this stuff is for kids. Like it can be for kids. It's the same thing with anime. If you're not watching, if you're not paying attention to what your kids are watching on anime, you better keep an eye on it. Take it from an anime fan. Some of that stuff is okay. Some of that
Some
stuff
of it's not.
is going
Some is
to
not, no.
nightmare.
I had my 8-year-old daughter explain to me what yaoi was, so I get it. Yeah, it was.
Hey,
I don't know what it is.
the
I don't wanna know.
interspecies reviewers is just good, wholesome family fun.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So redo
no.
the healer.
Disavow. Disavow. Get him off the screen. No.
Yeah, every child should watch Redo the Healer. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh God, I forgot about that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pair that with Sword Hero.
Or Goblin Slayer.
Oh, shit, hello.
I don't
Lot
know
of
any of
people.
this.
Or
Yeah,
Shield Hero,
I'm gonna sit back and go into my Zord mode again. Just hang out here because I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Okay, so all right.
Okay, you Asian person, you wear the yellow outfit. Wait, you're Jewish.
Tim-
Okay, you're
Tim's
in
not
the green
here?
because of money.
Wait, Tim's
black
not
guy,
here? Tim's
black
here?
outfit. Let's see.
What?
Yeah, white guy. What color are we gonna put you in? White, red.
Well,
Start on there.
Yeah. I mean, here's a good wholesome manga right here.
Yeah, let's not go there.
what's veterans? Is it veterans?
Yeah,
Well,
I think so. I think we're going off the rails here.
I'm reading a manga called Earthchild. It's a very interesting story.
I think we're going off the rails. I'm about to
Yeah, we're going
pull
off
this
topic.
car over.
Okay, can I tell one
hold on.
story though? Can I tell one story about anime and why people should be watching their stuff when it comes to anime?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go for
It's
it.
a great story. All right, so I'm Canadian, and I got this thing called Shaw Cable, and they had an anime thing, anime collections for their on demand, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'll pay $9.99 for anime. I love everything anime, comics, the whole 9 yards. And so they had this thing on there called Elfenlied. Now, I have seen Elfenlied before. I was watching it because I'm part of an anime club. I was part of the university clubs. I was running a lot of, working with the people, helping them do stuff. And so I'm like, what in the hell? We stopped watching after episode 3. That's when we just went, yeah, we're not going to watch this. I kind of finished it, but I was like, oh, it's one of those ones where I was like, eek, afterward. And so I see it on here on this on demand. E for everyone. It shows up as children for kids. I'm like, no. So I call them. And the first guy answers, and he's like, yeah, hi. I can't really, you guys got to take that off the E. It has to be mature. It's MA. You cannot have that for kids. It's just too much. And the guy's like, oh, well, we really don't do the rating here. And I'm like, well, don't bullshit me here. I know exactly how it works. You guys get the programming, you put it on demand, and then you rate it. You can change the rating at any time. Don't give me that shit. Oh, no. So I go, okay, I want you to go to this episode and watch 5 seconds of the beginning episode. And anyone who's seen Elfenlied, it's violent, extremely violent. Like if the first 5 seconds is a naked, girl butchering people and ripping a young girl's head off. That is the first 5 seconds. Literally, he plays it. I can hear the do 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 do, and it's like, holy shit. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to talk to some people. We'll try to fix it. So they put it up so they try to fix it, gets to E10. So I'm finally like, okay, a week later, they still haven't fixed it. It's E10. I can't let this be on here for kids. This is nuts. I call again. I go, hey, hi, I need you to do me something. And just, you got to raise this. Oh, we don't do that, blah, 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 blah. This woman's giving me a really rude retort. And I said, hey, you guys have that big TV thing to show everybody a tech support stuff? And she's like, yeah, I want you to go turn it to episode 3, the episode that we we stopped. And I kind of went through it. Go to such number, go to number, I think it's something minutes in. And it's the unfortunate scene where they adopted this daughter, and she was basically an abuse, like a child abuse, the bad type.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So they skip to that scene, and I just hear this sound coming from the technical support. Then I hear the manager go, "What the fuck?" Once that gets caught, it goes dead. And then next day, it's MA. It's mature. I'm just like, you gotta watch what your kids are watching. Make damn sure you know, because it's stupidity like that gets a 6-year-old to watch Elfenlied.
Yeah, that's something. That is something.
Yeah.
My daughters, however, thankfully are adults. They can watch whatever the hell they want. I don't have to worry about that. I got to tell you, a lot of stuff that's going on with kids these days. I'm so freaking glad our daughters are already out of all that. Glender's saying he likes horror, so he has to check Elfenlied now. So
yeah. Well, that being said, I'd rather have them watch Live than.
I recommend watching My Hero Academia. If you're not anime, tend to find it for kids.
Elfenlied is not something I suggest anybody watch. It's one of those edgy animes for when you're 18 and you're listening to Linkin Park. You don't watch as a grown adult.
I want to edgy anime before. When edgy anime was Live in Wonderland. That anime was freaking insane and dark, and never got popular in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I'm looking for another one of those Alice in Borderland TV shows or something like that. That just seems a lot of fun. Yeah. All righty, kids. I am pulling this car over. LK, you've been wanting to say something, so by all means, say it.
Just half joking in terms of saying I'd rather have my kids watch Elfenlied than the Aquaman or Thundercats cartoons. So
I watched one episode. I watched 5 minutes of one episode of Aquaman and had to turn that crap off. I am really thinking that might actually make for a good video, but that would mean I would have to finish an episode of that freaking TV show. That Aquaman, and I think a lot of people just forgot it existed.
Yeah,
the people who screwed up Thundercats did an Aquaman cartoon, same art style, same everything, and they did it as a cartoon, not an adventure series. It's supposed to be funny, and the first joke is him trying to sit in his throne without sliding out. This is Aquaman, ladies and gentlemen. Aquaman, kids.
Yeah.
Awful.
Well, sadly, they ran a marathon on Cartoon Network for that show this weekend, and I caught like 2 minutes of it. I don't know what episode it was, but it was Mara berating Aquaman while they were speeding away in some little ship or whatever, and they get back to the kingdom, and he's going to get on his throne, and oh my God, it's Ocean Master. And the drawing of Ocean Master was so terrible. I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Yep. As the children say, I am noping the F out of here. Let's see. Mr. DC Comics, Superman is the enemy, and any opposite of him is deemed the hero. That is the times of the comic books. When you have Superboy telling Superman, of all people, that he has not done enough for the Earth of DC universe, you are now, in my opinion, as soon as you write those words, get the off the book. Obviously,
that's not my goal at all. I can pause it. I will always make
that is Tom Taylor, and he should in no way, shape, or form be writing Superman at all, ever.
I just want to see John back to normal. That's all I want. Stop making it imposter be John. It's not my John at all. Work on it.
Now, Tom Taylor, I do believe he did Injustice, right?
Yeah,
Injustice, he did DC.
Red.
Right. Okay, so I like maybe Tavi. Hold on. I think maybe if he was if he stuck to the other worlds, the else worlds, and so forth and so on, but he is writing Superboy so poorly. It amazes me, actually. Like, I'll talk to Tristan. She likes the Superboy issues. And it's just freaking horrible.
It's driving me insane.
Yeah.
His Nightwings, I've read a few of his Nightwings. 3 of them have been good. Mainly, it's just his relationship with like Wally and some of the other Titans. But then there's the whole thing where he's like trying to fund a whole city and do socialist stuff with his fortune that Alfred left him. Dick is a millionaire now, but Bruce Wayne isn't.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna sound a little disrespectful, and I apologize. Tevye, you gotta let people get in there as well, because you're jumping in on every, and sometimes you're talking over, and just a little heads up there. Other good wholesome anime: Gantz, Magical Spell, Spec Ops. Okay.
I've heard about some of those.
Now, okay, here's one. What about it starts with an A. It just came out on Netflix. Apparently everyone's like it.
Arcane.
Arcane.
Oh, yeah.
It's good if you kind of like League of Legends, but I wouldn't really touch that if you're not an already automatic fan. Like, my suggestion would probably be if you want a show that isn't so bad, watch Tiger and Bunny if you're talking anime.
Yeah, that's a good choice, and I didn't realize they just came out with the season 2 that Netflix produced. And for you, E, an anime show on Netflix that there's 2 actually that I would highly recommend. Number 1 is The Great Pretender. It's an awesome con man show. If you ever watched the show Leverage, it's a lot like that. It's really good.
And Super Crooks was really good too.
Yes, Super Crooks. And Super Crooks you would like because it's in the Jupiter's. What was it? The Jupiter's Legacy universe.
Yeah.
Let's see. I look like I'm in the captain's chair of Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah, you kind of do with the
Hey, you're doing better than Picard.
Let's see. The Nightwing book has no story. I agree. I
agree.
Yeah, you know what? I actually think the covers are pretty damn good, and
the artist is really good.
Yeah, I have to admit.
Well, the ultimate question is, did they get his ass right? Because that's the only thing that matters.
On the cover, yes, and that's what I'm saying. I'm still a guy who judges a book by a cover sometimes. Oh, that cover looks good. Let me get that, and I'll read it. And it's horrible sometimes. I don't think that's a sound a human being should make. I'm just saying. Twitless is I actually said Twiddles. I do this with this guy every time. Twiddles is saying Super Crooks is a great exception. It's just Ocean 11, but edgy with superheroes. Maranya says, I'm tired of people saying that the Nightwing book covers are homoerotic. They are.
They're not.
Not. She says not. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, guys, about to say, Maranya and me gonna fight. No, they're not. Yeah. The ones with Wally West on them are really cool.
And Comic Book Frog is saying, check out Blade Runner, Black Lotus, and Titans Comics is releasing a continuing comic series. Arcane is the best anime on Netflix. Is Comic Book Frog
count as an anime? I don't know if
it counts. It's more of a self-contained thing. It's more a CGI animation.
Yeah, it's more of a CGI thing.
Did you guys see all the Doctor Who stuff? Jimmy, with the freaking Doctor Who.
I do, but I don't want to get demonetized a third time.
It's just
don't bring up Doctor Who. Bad idea.
Guys, when you do that, I see my view count drop. You gotta keep it to one person at a time. What were you gonna say about it, Orc?
I said you don't want to talk about Doctor Who with me here. It's to me that's I lost my grandfather to cancer years and years ago, and that was our show. And the last season, it's an emotional thing for me. It's like I would never wish any wrong to these people, but if they all of a sudden all died, I would probably dance in the air screaming yippee. That's how angry I am about this. I feel like they've destroyed my franchise. I want nothing to do with Doctor Who. They've murdered it, and I hope they love my grandfather's blood on their hands. That's how much I hate it.
Damn.
I stopped watching Doctor Who in 1975, 76 when my brother first introduced me to it, and I went, "This is boring as balls." And you know what? Every time he'd be like, "No, you got to watch it now." And okay, I checked it out. Nope. I have not seen an episode that's interested me. God bless you guys. I'm not putting anything on anybody. You like what you like. Everybody's a geek for something here, and I think that's cool. But it's just something that I do not get. And I'm not saying like Glinzer saying, is that nerdotic? No, obviously not. But no way he would be on my show. But the thing is I was nerdotic beforehand. Oh my gosh, Doctor Who is dead. For me, it's been dead forever. But I'm like that. I start boycotts before you guys. So, oh my gosh, we need to boycott. What is that chicken place, because they gave blood to gay people during the Pulse shooting. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Chick-fil-A.
You know what? I stopped buying Chick-fil-A because it's bad chicken sandwiches. It's like Papa John's. Oh my gosh, we gotta ban Papa John's because they're Republican. No, I banned Papa John's because they can't cook the freaking crust on their pizza. Every time anybody's got a boycott or a ban, I've already done it. Oh my gosh, Doctor Who is bad now because of the SJW writing. I boycotted Doctor Who for the last 45 years. This ain't hurting me at all.
To me, it was more of a personal gripe about the matter. It was something I watched. It was kind of to keep the memory of my grandfather alive, right? That's kind of how it felt like to me. It was a personal thing with me, with Doctor Who. Same thing with Red Dwarf. Thank goodness the original creator of the Red Dwarf has always had control of it, never let anything go, and has always been working for it. And the show has always been good.
There you go. Okay, Tevye, what's up?
Yeah, speaking of Doctor Who and everything, I know I did the thing on together, but the last Doctor Who episode I watched with Chris Ferguson, I think. I don't know who the last Doctor, not the female Doctor, the Doctor, 12th Doctor, I think.
What, Peter Capaldi?
Yeah, Peter Capaldi. Yeah, he was the last Doctor I watched, and I actually like his story. I think he had a great run. No, it wasn't perfect. Far from it, some flaws, but I think his story was pretty cool. About the Master. Yeah, the film master with Missy, and that's really kind of fun. And then we got the other master back on David Tennant's line. It's pretty cool when they teamed up. It's pretty funny. After that story. After Peter McCoy left, I kind of dropped out Doctor Who. So I don't have
Okay. So apparently, if I get flagged for this video, it won't be for the conversation about bisexual Batman, but apparently because I said I thought Chick-fil-A was bad chicken.
Yep.
Here we
I'm
go. We
triggered.
got
so
we got
triggered
big boycott England team for his comments on Chick-fil-A. Jimmy says we all must boycott E for his take on Chick-fil-A. Twiddles is saying you take that back about Chick-fil-A. Yeah, sorry, gang.
Okay, at least we didn't say it about Raising Cane's or Zaxby's. Those fans are insane.
What,
I can't be on here with either of y'all. You don't like Raising Cane's?
Zaxby's?
What? Oh no, I'm fine with them. I'm saying I'm glad you didn't, put down Zaxby's or Raising Cane's.
I actually like Zaxby's. So I'm okay with that one. I don't know what a Raising Cane's is. I don't really go to fast food joints. I might go to those fast casual places, like Tijuana Flats for tacos or something like that. But even if I'm going to get a burger, I would prefer to go to Five Guys and spend a few extra dollars than a McDonald's or Burger King. It's just I can't eat that crap anymore. I just don't know. Can't do it.
Local stores are always the best. Like if you can go to the local places and get some local food, like some good grub from those places. I got a couple stores in town that are just their food is amazing. I've never hated. I've always had it just worth every single bite.
I told a story here about when we lived up in Tallahassee, and on the way we lived very rural. We're in the country, and there was a barbecue shack. It was a little thing. Like if you looked at it, you'd be like, I don't know if I want to go in there. But if you did, you're treated to the best barbecue you'll ever in your entire life have. And it was the guy who smoked the meats only had 3 fingers on one hand because he chopped them off, cutting the meat and all that. And it was kind of funny because I was like, from then on, I said, I don't trust barbecue from anybody who has all their fingers. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool when you find that mom and pop shop. I have been searching for a good place to find a hot dog because I don't like boiled like you do at home or anything like that. And I finally did. They can do a good Chicago dog, best hot dog ever. It's just, I'm so happy about that. You bite into it and it actually has that pop. Yeah, that's the only good way. If it doesn't have that, it's like, okay, I can't. No, it's got to have that popping sound when you bite into it. I am so happy because, I love Chicago dogs, but there's nowhere to get them except for at Universal. Five Guys is pretty good, Twiddles. You know what? I don't care if your name's Twitless. It's Twiddles. I look at it and that's what I say. So I'm not fighting it. Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes. Popeyes beats the teetotal hell out of it.
I don't know. Popeyes, Chick-fil-A wins with the sandwich. Popeyes wins with everything else.
Popeyes is fucking awesome.
Raising Cane's beats them all with just chicken tenders, though. So
I trust your taste in comics more than your food. Twitless says Missy is my favorite master.
Yeah. Well, and as somebody mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure people have said I'm the nerdrotic of the England Gene stream.
I have said this. I have said you are our black pill here.
You just get like a fake beard.
In all honesty, Glenzer, that's what I keep thinking as well. I thought Raising Cain was a 90s movie with John Lithgow. Yes, it's Brian De Palma. Hire Zack Snyder to make DC great again.
No.
Five Guys. Trusty, we're still here. Jump on if you want. Three Finger Theo, your barbecue. It was what was his name? It was like Three Finger Joe or something like that. Game of Thrones will probably be better than Amazon's Lord of the Rings. I'm looking forward to one of those.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
the
none.
new Game of Thrones. I'm actually curious because Matt Smith is in the new Game of Thrones, and I want to see how he does.
My big problem with the Game of Thrones, like most people, is the later seasons. Well, they had Dave and Dave?
Yeah.
They said early that they were tired of doing the show. They should have been removed. So if we're going to get a Game of Thrones without them, I am interested in seeing what that's like, because we saw when they're excited about a project, obviously they can do great. But when they are the reason why Game of Thrones is destroyed. Not anything else. They are, because they lost interest. And instead of drawing out these epic seasons where you have somebody actually take time to go 4,000 miles on foot, they instantly show up. They rushed the last season. You know it. I know it. It's their fault. I am looking forward to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, by the way, is not dead. It's not doomed. It's not all the stuff. Okay.
No, that's Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, on the other hand. Lord of the Rings is. Every time I see something about it, all I could think of is like Barney Fife trying to get his gun out. They said, "What? Let me get," and they shoot themselves in the foot. No, wait, stop in the name of, and they shoot themselves in the foot again. Every time somebody says something bad about it, I'm like, shut the hell up, Amazon. You are why Andy Griffith made Barney Fife put his bullets in his pocket. That's it. Stop trying to sell it. And definitely, I don't understand why anybody thinks that insulting the core audience is a good marketing idea, which Amazon
hate watching.
The people behind Amazon's Lord of the Rings has said this. They have said, "Oh, well, the fandom is toxic." No, you know who's toxic? I'm sorry, but it is you who do not respect the material.
I don't know, the 4,000 weddings of people dressing up like elves and having a traditional Lord of the Rings wedding. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those guys are real toxic. You know, the people who spend thousands of dollars building building these awesome costumes. Yeah. That's a toxic person. Okay. You're basically telling that person that they're a bad person. You're basically saying let them close their wallets and not worry about you.
All because they know more about the source material than the screenwriters who are doing the show.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, which is full of shit. Like I said, we make the joke that someone asked Elon Musk if he'd buy Lord of the Rings, and I think his response was, "Well, we'll see how bad this bombs, and maybe I'll buy it at a discount."
Hey.
Okay,
I like
let me
that.
get some of these comments because I'm a little bit behind. I saw you guys explaining Raising Cane's. Comic Book Frog says he loves Popeyes, as everybody should. Sonic's has good chili dogs. This is a true fact. And good pretzels, by the way. Chick-fil-A is king. No other chicken place is better, and he is right, except for Popeyes. MK is asking Whopper or Big Mac. Whopper. Every freaking day,
Big
twice
Mac.
on Tuesdays. Because the Whopper doesn't try to hide its flavor behind an extra thing of bread. Who goes and says, you know what I need? I need a bun sandwich, but in order to hold it, can I get 2 other buns?
Big
Yeah,
Mac
come
is
on.
perfection. I will hear no.
You just heard it. So we
Whopper,
have
just because
I can't help that you have a wrong opinion.
The black pill is a new trendy color. Let's see. Little Nikki thinks Popeyes is awesome, which, by the way, when Popeyes was brought up, I did go, Popeyes is awesome. I always quote Little Nicky whenever it comes to Popeyes. I don't know what people hate about that movie. That's a funny freaking movie.
I don't get either. I thought it was fun going up.
House of Dragons is going to be great because of the 11th Dr. Matt Smith. Der Wiener Schnitzel used to have the best chili dog, says Trusty. Let's see. Whoop, I lost a few. There we go. Well, I'm going to give LOTR a chance. The anime next year will be solid.
yes,
I will give it its day in court, but I just don't have any faith in
the
it.
anime is going to be amazing. That's being made by one of the producers from the films is working on that one.
Jimmy is saying they're effing.
Sorry.
Jimmy is saying they're effing wizards and hobbits in the second age. That is not possible. F Rings of Power. I'm really ticked about it. Yeah, never suit fans, says MK. Der Wiener Schnitzel near me says, okay, sorry about that. I'm more excited for future seasons of Dragon Prince. I guess that's the animated series on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
That's the one. What is the show? I'm afraid they're going to cancel. Oh, Stargirl. That's the only show.
I don't want it canceled. That show's great. That's super lost.
Yeah.
If anything, they're just going to get moved over to HBO. If anything,
I hope.
What other shows do we watch on Usual? Yeah, nothing. Yeah, we got to find a new show. Let's see.
I like The Boys. The Boys.
I'll read.
Oh yeah, The Boys has season 3 coming out.
Oh, we like The Boys. We like The Boys here. Let's see. Glenzer is saying, I'll read the Lord of the Rings backwards on a treadmill than waste time with that Amazon hearsay. And Jimmy says, you know who knows more about LOTR? Tom Shippey, the guy who they fired for calling them out on their crap. Yeah, probably so. Dave and Dave screwed everything up. Churches does not belong in a conversation about chicken when you're bringing up Popeyes.
Terrible. They're not bad.
I don't know. Where do you think Churches falls there, honey? Do y'all have Bojangles?
Mm-mm.
Is that a Southern thing? Because Bojangles is good. The chicken's good. The biscuits, they be great. That is some good stuff.
I'm in the South, but we don't have Bojangles.
Yeah, but you're in New Orleans. It's not South. It's in all honesty, I'm barely in the South. I'm in Central Florida.
The South, there's different regions to the South.
So. If we go a little bit lower or a little bit higher, then we're in the South. Basically, we got, I guess, citified a little bit because of having Disney near us. But thankfully I grew up before that.
Oh
boy.
Yeah. So I was going to say the next time I'm in Arkansas, I'll have to check and see if there's a Bojangles around. So, and I'll just take up the conversation here. Game of Thrones is dead because George R.R. Martin will never finish
You're not finished the book.
So,
But he does have that new Marvel series coming out that he's editing.
What Marvel series?
well, again though, but that's as far as I know. I mean, that's based off of already existing stuff. That's wild cards, which is freaking awesome. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, let's not give George R.R. Martin that much credit for wild cards because he is more.
Well, he did Elden Ring.
Yeah, he was more of an editor. Yeah.
Yeah, it was originally conceived by a bunch of basically a bunch of sci-fi authors that happened to get together at a retreat or somebody's house and toss around and
And the
He'll be back. He'll be back. Ash says, "I heard someone was dissing Church's chicken." Hey, that used to be Sunday lunch for my family up until I was like 8 or 9 years old. So, what's up, Ash? How you doing, man?
Yeah.
Somebody was asking, who was it? Was it MK? No, it was Mr. DC Comics. He was asking if Mandalorian, is the Mandalorian the only good Disney show? There's a few other ones. I put it in the chat. There's a Monsters Incorporated show.
There's the Bad Batch, amazing. Ahsoka's coming out soon. Obi-Wan coming out soon. Which Obi-Wan, I'm hoping that's good. I'm probably on that one because please, don't F this up. Obi-Wan is a great character, and this story needs to be great. Don't screw it up.
I'm not holding my breath for. I've seen some of the leaks. I'm not holding my breath.
I don't want to spoil this.
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just saying. No, the two that I've really enjoyed. There's a Monsters Incorporated show called Monsters at Work, where they actually got John Goodman and Billy Crystal to come in and voice Mike and Sully. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. And then there's a Turner and Hooch show they did that I've been enjoying. It doesn't have Tom Hanks. It has Josh Peck, who plays his son. That one's been really enjoyable. The Marvel shows they're hit or miss, honestly.
Yeah,
you can have a bad show with good episodes, a good show.
One of them was awesome. I love one of them. That show to be really amazing.
Yeah.
But one was good.
Moon Knight,
Moon Knight was
I was thinking Moon Knight was good after I finished watching it, but then somebody said this yesterday and it got me thinking. You are introducing a character for the very first time to a bunch of normies, and the first story that you think of doing is like, hey, let's introduce all the Egyptian gods. And it was like, no, that's not a good intro origin story. So, oh God, who let him in here?
Lord.
Well, somebody has to end the stream.
Oh, are you here to end it?
Yeah.
I'm the fill-in host.
Oh, okay.
Again, I'll say my biggest frustration with Moon Knight is what could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
It should have been a kick.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Our internet every night this week about midnight, it has just been zonking right out on us. So
Has it really?
thank you very much. By the way, I actually was boring. I was actually borrowing my daughter's phone to get a hold of you to say, hey, Hardy V, can you come and close out the frickin' live stream? Because otherwise it would be on. So,
I've been just going over the comic gates, looking at the books coming out, and to my pull list for the next months. And there's a lot of good books coming out from Marvel, actually.
wait, what were you going over? What was the
League of Comic Gates? I was going over my pull list for the next couple months,
Yeah, all I heard was Comic Gates, and I'm like, wait, what?
Comic Gate? No,
RDV is with Comicsgate now.
No, I was actually looking over and the releases for June 15th. There's a new Fantastic Four #1 by Peter David. He's bringing back the Hulk, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine.
Yeah, it's part of this whole collaborative series of Marvel books that
the one
lately that go back in time basically. And so Peter David's writing a book in the period after Reed and Sue and Ben left in a new Fantastic Four, which was I think Spider-Man, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
The other Ben Riley series that came out well after this good was way better than the present-day Ben Riley stuff. Like screw Beyond, screw that nonsense. Read the Pat Beyonce along with not Beyond, the Pat Ben Riley written by Jan Demon's Hayes.
Dude, don't do the clapping thing. This ain't Twitter. This is my own opinion. It's like, come on.
I thought that was cheerleading or Tom Squad.
And okay. Hey,
well, boys, I got to take off. I got to get some stuff done. I got D&D to do tomorrow, so I want to get everything ready. So you boys have yourself a very good one. Thanks for having me.
Good one, Or.
Anytime, man.
All right.
How we going? But that I do like this run of books though. It's not Marvel, and it's older creators making stories based on older comics for the older fans.
Yeah.
It's a nostalgia tour.
JD DeMatteis, he's writing the Ben Reilly Spider-Man. You had Peter David who was doing right now he's currently doing the Maestros books. He was doing CBA crossover or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, and then you have David Micheline doing Carnage right now. You're getting a lot of old writers from the back of the 80s. If you're buying any books, you'd be buying those. Won't buy the new books. Buy the back issues, but also buy these by these certain creators because they're not putting the propaganda into these books.
Yeah,
it's like a little pocket of Marvel resistance. It's funny because it shows their writing is better than anything Jason Aaron's done in his whole career.
Anyway, back to the current one, Spider-Man, Zeb Wells. He's running an ASM pissed me off so much that they ran video. Which I'm still mad
at. Trusty Sidekicks commenting that he wants Emily Blunt to be Sue Storm for John Krasinski's.
Yes.
I think everybody's on that page.
Well, the problem is you're assuming that John Krasinski's going to actually be Reed. There's no reason why he's going to be.
Yeah, but there's also no reason why he's not going to be either.
I always had
I saw a meme I liked where it was like it showed John Krasinski because everybody thinks it was dumb of him, Reed Richards, smartest guy in the world, to say his power comes from his mouth. Make that disappear. And it's like, no, Wanda, we have figured out a way to find your kids.
Oh, I saw that.
Black Bolt.
Oh, yeah,
explain it to you.
Yes.
And his head explodes.
Yeah. Well, and again, that again part and parcel of one of the scenes where I was audibly groaning, like, oh God, really? And again, the world's smartest man, and the smartest thing he can come up with is to do a full frontal assault and move slowly.
Yeah. That's of course that was poor writing, but okay, I'm gonna try this again. We've been on for almost 3 hours now, but by all means, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Tomorrow night, please join RDV and Zach on their channel. Geeky Puppet Show still.
Yep.
No puppets.
They will pick out the best comics coming out on Wednesday and talk about them. And then on Thursday, they'll tell you if they were right as they review what they call the top comics, right? That's what
the best
of the week. Yeah.
And I watched them. I actually, what happened was I was doing my work for the auction and I put on I put on the video and it just kind of played a couple of these. I'm like, yeah, these guys, you're doing pretty good over there, and I think you're doing pretty well. Please, by all means, give them some views, give them some watch time, and leave a comment, share it, and all that kind of stuff. That's what the new algorithm is all about, anyway, is sharing. So if you could share this, that would be awesome.
And come tell me if you think my picks are wrong, because I'm tired of hearing it from just Breen. So if you think my picks are wrong, at least give me some variety of dissenters.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. We don't get any comments.
That's a best idea. Well, that's a best idea. Go over there and watch. And if you have 5 different ones, put them in the comment section of the videos that they do, not just the chat, but the comment section. And then watch them on Thursday, because you will see if they're right or wrong. And you could say if they were right or wrong after you read the book. So
because we're only picking out 5 books, and I usually have like 10 or 15 books in my.
I think I've got like 6 or 7 this week. So I'm gonna have to figure out which 5 I'm looking forward to.
It's fun to heckle them and tell them how wrong they were.
Now, in the meantime, I am thinking I might have a 50-cent sale just to get a little extra money in the coffers for the MegaCon on Wednesday. It'll be a 1-boxer. And on Thursday, of course, I'm going to be at the MegaCon, so I'll probably come home to a live stream chatting about that for a bit. So
you gotta let me know if you see Gina Carano.
I will. I know we're not doing the meet and greet because if I'm going to spend $150, it's going to be on comics, not.
Oh
just
yeah,
celebrity.
absolutely. I understand that. But if
Yeah.
you just like see her from a distance,
Okay.
that was my
Yeah.
favorite part of going to the cons is
I'm-
seeing them from a distance.
I'm the
Oh,
guy they always yell at because I got my video camera here I bought for the Disney Channel and everything. So I'm the guy that walks by the celebrity thing with, you can't film over here. Yes, I can. I'm doing it. I don't know why you think it doesn't work. Let everybody. Yes, the cameras work. You know, I'm that guy.
One final comment about that new Fantastic Four thing. Walt Simonson's doing a 1 in 25 variant. Arthur Adams also doing a regular variant, and he also getting Carrie Andrews doing a variant
Oh,
cover as well.
nice. Nice.
And they
Carrie
all look
Andrews.
really good.
Oh, there you go. Doctor Strange, Captain Carter episodes of What If were the best. The Killmonger episode was horrible. That was
That was bad.
That
That
was-
was what the hell?
The zombie one, Maranya. You forgot the zombie one. That
Zombie
was a
was
lot of
good.
fun.
all right. Anyway, we're if we get into this, we're another hour. So once again, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. If you don't mind helping out, there's a link to a Ko-fi. I do believe Maranya put it into the chat. It's also in the description. Just drop $1 in the tip jar. Absolutely appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. You kids have a good night.
Bye.